Hello, and welcome again to another episode of Dork Tales. I'm your Dungeon Master Kelly, and tonight, joining me are my lovely players. Let's introduce ourselves, starting with... Oh, hello, Amy.
What? Hi.
I don't know why I picked you.
I don't know. Hello. I am Amy, and I am playing Tia Armstrong, the half-orc druid. Ah! Who's doing that? Is that me? Is my thing not muted for some reason? Or is that someone else?
Oh, I just switched over, and then I had to, quickly turn down the sound.
Yeah, okay. I was worried that I hadn't muted stuff.
No, you're good.
Cool.
You're good?
Cool.
All right, so hi, Amy.
Hi. I have shoulders. They're making themselves known.
Did you hurt yourself?
They are just incredibly tense.
All right. So you're gonna...
I moved it away.
You want to introduce yourself?
I thought I did.
You didn't say... Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
You said you were playing
I'm playing Tia Armstrong, the half-orc druid. I said the thing!
Okay. All right, sorry about that.
No one needs to know who I am, though.
Hey,
It's
Christine.
fine.
Hey, Kelly. What's up?
Shit, we're on it.
To engage in some banter.
No, that's the
People
podcast.
love banter.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Christine, and I play Malia Sunsworn, the Dwarven Tempest Cleric of Vela.
Are you taller than Mike in real life?
Yes, I think so.
And you're the shortest character and tallest player.
Wait, how tall are you?
5'9"?
I'm 6'1".
Oh, are you? You've never stood up straight next to me, then.
That's true.
No, I'm always
Slouch
slouching.
a lot.
All right,
It's not
sloucher.
good for your back.
No, it's not at all.
The hell? I'm mirrored, so my hair's going the wrong way. It's weirding me out. All right, Mike.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike. I am playing Xeno Rightwing. He is our half-elf ranger tonight. And I have a different headset tonight because my rabbit ate my usual one.
He's not even
So-
kidding, because
And
if
I'm not even kidding.
if he sounds a little tinny, that's why.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, hello, Winter.
Hi, I'm Winter. I play Mars, the Tiefling Rogue.
All right, and
Ooh,
I'm
so
just going to
excited.
do one. It's going to be a good game. I'm just going to close a couple more sneaky processes that have popped up.
Oh, sneaky processes.
Well, because
Those
Discord keeps
sneaky
trying
processes.
to open,
Mm,
and I'm pretty sure the Microsoft Store does not need to be open. Go to hell.
Probably not. I'm really happy with my new dice tray.
You want to show
It's
everybody?
I mean,
pretty-
I'm showing
it's
it
pretty
off.
cool.
Not sponsored.
Not
That is pretty
sponsored,
cool.
but I do like the quality. Holy crap.
Was it good?
You should get it all organized, all the dice around the outside by type. So you have all the D8s together, all the D4s together.
Do.
Oh, you do? I couldn't see that.
I
Ooh.
do. There's my D20s.
Are you just
and
trying to bribe your dice?
I'm hoping they'll be nice to me in something nicer.
I got you a nicer house. Roll well.
Yeah. And also, I love the art on this.
That is pretty cool.
I got you a nice home. Be nice. Why do you hate me?
And then I will maybe, yeah.
Maybe actually roll well.
Maybe.
Nah.
We'll see.
All right, so last time in generic fantasy setting, the crew was traveling across the Jamoran Sea of Sand on the good ship Stormhammer, which was a sand crawler that it doubles as a cruise ship for the wealthy. Now, as they were traveling along, they met a number of individuals that were sharing their side of the royal suites and, well, the executive diamond class suites anyway. And as you were there, you were roped into helping solve a murder. Now, you spent most of last session going around and collecting evidence. Does anyone need any refresher on what they found or what?
Do we just want to do a rundown
found
of...
that he was dead before his throat was slashed,
Mm-hmm.
and that there was poison traces, like trace amounts of poison. We were about to go and talk to the people that were still on the boat that are right now quarantined in their rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we were going to go talk to Halfling Buddy first.
Mm-hmm.
Grimmin Grenfellow?
Grimman. Yeah, him.
Yes, because there was evidence that a halfling-sized individual had been hiding in the wardrobe with trace
Yes.
amounts of sand around it, and also evidence that they
Out the
had
window.
crawled in through the window and then back out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was also
And it-
mentioned that someone noticed sand in the hallway.
I believe Mars did.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then we need to talk to the elf girl because we found her ring covered in blood in the sink.
I don't know if the ring itself was covered in blood, but there was evidence that someone had been washing their hands.
Washing.
of
Oh, yeah,
blood
washing.
in the
Yeah.
sink. So,
Okay.
Either way,
Seems like everybody's
suspicious.
been in and out of here.
yeah,
Except us until now.
yeah.
Okay. So 1 sec. I'm just gonna switch to my laptop camera because I think that using the Brio is slowing my system down too much,
That'll do it.
which is unfortunate because it looks so much better. Oh. Okay. So, is there anything else that you discovered last session that you would like to make sure that you all are aware of?
This dagger or blade was missing. The
Oh, the
Umir
one that
Bell.
belongs to Umir Bell, yes.
or Umir Bell's great something
Yes.
great ancestor. Grandcestor?
Grandcestor.
Esther.
great grandcestor. Wait. Appears to
Ooh.
be anyway, basically a lot of people have motives.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there were some nasty letters it looked like from Umir on the desk.
And someone
Yeah.
witnessed
Going
overheard an
from-
argument.
What?
Someone
Yeah,
overheard an argument in the
No, what's Kelly shaking his head to?
No, I was checking to my delay.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
sorry.
It's like you're disagreeing with something.
You shook no to something I just said. What?
We are all wrong.
You know, I disagree with existence right now.
think
I
most of
agree
us
with
do.
that.
Okay.
But yeah, Mars had overheard the conversation
Mhm.
between Umir and what's his face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start my notes.
yeah.
Oh my god, I'm dropping everything.
Mr. Complicated Name or Scorpion.
The Scorpion, yeah.
The Scorpion.
Also
Mhm.
known in my notes as Deaton Van S.
Yes,
Yes.
that was the weird name that I was trying to remember.
Ooh, what color should I do my notes in today? I have an assortment.
Obviously
Mm.
purple.
Probably verbal.
Probably purple,
I
yeah.
did green last
Sure.
time, so
Mm.
All right. So, and I'm just checking to make sure everybody who has Twitch on, just making sure that we're coming across okay.
Yeah, I've been checking my position with the camera and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to get my ring light.
The ring lights are so dope.
Mhm.
is it a mini one?
It's a mini one, so like your phone or like a small webcam can fit in its size.
okay.
But it's got like a pretty decent tripod.
And all right.
Not like my massive one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's great.
All right. I'll put a note to edit the opening of this so that it moves a little more smoothly. Low system resources may affect your audio quality. Try closing some things. I literally only have 2 programs running, but okay. How many tiny programs have decided to open themselves?
Have
It's a
you
dope.
checked in your task manager to see if something's
Assuming, yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 100% CPU right now. 1 sec.
Oh, what is making you do that?
Well, streaming and zooming at the same time is pretty
Okay.
big.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is desktop window manager?
Do you have anything that loads up when you open up your laptop, like a reset, just
Yeah, I've-
automatically?
I've got
Oh.
quite.
Do you have a lot of stuff saved on your desktop itself?
Oh wait, I might actually because I just downloaded a bunch of stuff for.
Because if I remember correctly, desktop uses your RAM because more actively because it's right in your face. I can't
Mhm.
remember exactly how it works, but it's not the same as storing something in your files.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
Or is it somewhere else? I could be wrong though.
It could just be a clog. Give me 1 sec. Boop 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 boop.
I hadn't even thought about it for a while.
Well, I mean, I've got 39 gigabytes free out of 240.
It's not about the storage so much as it is about the active use of where it's hanging out. Like, I think it ends up in like a temp folder, or just the way the directories work to access the desktop stuff.
Well, everything
yeah,
that I have
why
is...
I never store anything on my desktop, because it just clogs my computer. But someone who knows about computers, tell me I'm wrong.
I'm in love of folder trees, so I don't put
too.
anything on my desktop.
This is also true.
My CPU was being overrun by having programs that I didn't even know were active just from turning on my laptop. So I had to go in and disable all of them so they wouldn't just start up.
Yeah, I usually use CCleaner. It was one that was recommended when I was taking my computer sciences class.
Yeah, I need to run that again.
Yep.
Oh, Elgato, what are you doing open?
Yeah, I just cleared out a lot of my hard drive so that I can re-download a game that I want, which I probably shouldn't download now because it's 120 gigs.
Oof.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Wait for it.
Maybe not when we're streaming something.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Other things, if your recycling bin's really full, that might be doing.
No, it should be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
Okay.
We're all fine. How are you? We're all good?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
What's he doing?
But I am getting a new hard drive soon, so.
That's nice.
Okay.
Jordan said that if I beat Iceborne and Master Hunter, he's gonna get me a proper gaming desktop that's gonna be really sexy.
Nice.
That's pretty good incentive to beat things.
Just beat
Wait,
it.
what are you beating?
The Iceborne DLC for Monster Hunter.
Oh, nice.
Is it just to make you play Monster Hunter? Okay.
And if I get to master rank, he's gonna buy me a cake.
Is anybody talking in the chat right now?
Not so
I
far.
don't see anybody.
Oh.
No.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's jump right into it. As Mike leaves.
As Mike.
No, I just had to grab a phone charger because I'm transferring phone data off my old phone to my new one at the moment, and my old one is trying to die. So just
Fair
plug
enough.
it in. Just plug bleh. Words.
Words are things.
Words
need
are
words.
things that exist.
You know what? Actions speak 1,000 words. Don't know where I was going with that, but
Yeah, I was about to say the turn economy there is a little off.
it's a little. It doesn't quite work.
Wave a.
It doesn't quite work. Okay. You know what? We're just going to run like this. Everything's fine. My worry is just that it's going to be patchy, because if it's patchy on the upload, then...
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm saving all of this to Zoom remotely as well, so we're fine.
Oh, okay.
That might be part of it too, the double recording.
It's cloud recording.
But it's
Has
still
no-
processing as it goes, right?
Nope, the servers are doing it, not me.
Okay.
It's an automatic feature of Zoom's interface.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
It's nice. It's
Yeah.
definitely helpful.
Andy.
All right, so you find yourselves standing in the royal suite, once occupied by Deaton von S., also known as the Scorpion. You've assembled a myriad evidence, and you now know that there are several suspects that you should probably begin investigating. As you stand inside of the room, looking at the various clues and items that you've collected throughout your investigation, where do you go and how do you do it?
I think visiting Grimond would probably be the best bet.
We should probably also instruct the boat staff not to let anyone leave.
They're already not letting. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
until this
already
is
doing
resolved.
that?
Yeah, they're already nobody in or out type things. We are the only people who are allowed to be out of our rooms.
Okay, good.
Mind you, if Grimond has no issues going outside, there might be
That's-
an additional problem.
This is true.
Yeah.
So another reason why we should check on him first.
Oh, that's an idea. I want to go inspect the window in our room
Okay.
because I want to know whether or not it's actually something we can open right now, or if it too has been locked down during the lockdown.
Heading out into the hallway, you can see that there are a pair of bellhops armed with very broad shovel axes, waiting at the doors, just barring, keeping their backs pressed against them. In the hallway, though, it's completely open. Slight dusting of sand that Mars saw is now very visible to the rest of you. And taking a quick left, you open the sliding door to your room.
Mm-hmm.
Heading inside, you could see that everything's as you left it. Just as disheveled and smelling like the stale sweat that comes off of a heavy night of drinking. The window's directly in front of you. What do you look at her?
I want to try and open it and see, because she hasn't really looked too closely at them before.
Okay.
So I'm actively investigating. So
from the inside, you flip the latch and lift the lever. And as you do, the window gives to your hand. But as soon as you push on it, it starts being buffeted by sand, being blown up from the ground. And you can hear some voices calling down below in the distance.
Lift higher! Go, 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 go! I need that shovel over here! Get the backhoe around!
Mm-mm.
The sand crawler has been lodged in the sand for well over 2 hours now.
Right. And it's
sandstorm.
tilted, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, there's a slight tilt to the floor of about, I think it was 15 degrees, so slight slant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So, at least right now, they wouldn't be able to really open the windows.
Well,
Like,
you're
am I
able
having I'm able to. I'm not having any difficulty.
There's a bit of resistance from the wind and sand. And if you open it further than a crack or so, you start seeing bits of sand blow in directly into the bed on the right, which I believe is your bed.
Slept in worse. So I'll close that. Like, so compared to what was happening in the other, like, does it seem like the type of sand blowing in that happens in the other room? Can I go double check it? See if it
Sure.
seems similar?
Yeah, sure. You can make me an investigation roll.
I absolutely will. I rolled a 19. It's going to be a 20.
Okay.
Wow.
It appears to be the exact same color, rough size, shape, and flavor of sand.
Yeah.
But, like,
Tasty.
does it seem like perhaps whoever broke in, it was after the boat tilted or before? Or just
Oh,
like
like
in the
the
storm?
dispersion of the sand.
I'm trying to figure out if it makes... It seems like this happened before we entered the... Yeah, if that's even possible to figure out. Like, which way is it blowing?
Well, I think, didn't you guys hear him alive? Right when we entered?
Did hear
'Cause that's when
people
you went
yelling.
back to your rooms.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
heard them having an argument.
Yeah. But that wasn't... So that was after we entered the sea of sand,
Mm-hmm.
but it was before the boat got stuck.
Yes. The boat got stuck
Okay.
about 2 hours ago.
And when was
Um,
the body found?
Body was found very shortly afterward.
Okay, so it was after we got stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For purposes of game mechanics, just assume that they are coincidentally simultaneous.
Okay.
But as far as looking at that, you can see that both windows were opened and that sand blew in. There's no real way of telling exactly whether or not it was while the ship was in motion or not.
Okay.
At
At least not that I can tell.
If you hazarded a guess, probably it was in motion at the time.
Okay. So I kind of want to check all the rooms on this side of the boat that we can.
Well, we're gonna go talk to Grimmin next, so.
All right, so let's just pop up that image for you.
Up.
I want to know what happened.
So does the captain.
There we go.
We have so much in common.
Right?
There's that.
She's a dwarf. Our friend's a dwarf. I mean, like, the commonality here is insane.
Checking your room, you'll see that, it had been blown open as well. Moving down to the corridor, Grimmin is in, of course, room 6, directly next to yours. What do you do?
Wait, just looking at this map here, what's that door between 5 and 6? Does that actually exist?
It does not. It does not. It did, but it didn't.
Okay.
It's a utility closet.
It's a closet. It's a closet. That's
okay.
Good eye. Good eye. I forgot to Photoshop that out. Because this is
important.
I stole this from a cruise ship and doctored it significantly. So that is a connecting door between cabins, and that was an original plot before I shuffled people around. But good call. So no, it looks like there used to be one there, but it's been sealed up by bricks.
Okay, cool.
Permanent bricks.
Permanent bricks.
Permanent bricks, not temporary bricks.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But good eye, Amy.
So
have a point of inspiration.
Cool, I already had one.
Okay, cool. Well. All right, so what do you do?
Well,
Chuck.
do we want to talk to Grimmin first and just go room to room and figure out, or I mean, I want to kind of figure out how the heck someone managed to travel via the outside of the boat.
Hey, that's a good thing for me to try.
No.
Can I be stealthy outside the boat and try to figure that out, Kelly?
You can try to wriggle through the window with a very high difficulty acrobatics roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
You don't have the security equipment. What are you doing?
I'm sure
he
we
is
can get
literally
them.
saying this.
Acrobatics, you say?
It's definitely going to be a high acrobatics roll because this hole is only about this big.
How's 24?
You're wriggling.
All right, so with a 24, you head back into the royal corridor and press yourself into the window frame, sucking in a deep breath and wiggling your head through, pressing your breast down to squeeze through the small opening. You will find yourself basically half in, half out, sitting on the ledge, kind of side saddling the door or the window frame. So that your hips don't get stuck. Looking down, it is about a 250-foot drop to the sand.
Oh, fun.
And looking out, you can see that there is a very small ledge, as well as a railing and small length of cable that would not be very pleasant to touch with bare skin. I believe you wear gloves, though.
Typically, yes, because I'm not leaving. Well, yeah, and plus anything with your hands, if you're wearing leather, it's protective for other stuff.
Yeah.
What's the cord made out of? Is it just twined so it wouldn't
It's basically like a steel cable. So it's probably very hot right now. But if you're wearing gloves, you should be okay.
Okay. I won't go fully onto it, putting all my weight onto the single cable, but I'll do a jag to see if it'll feel like it would have been strong, especially during the high winds.
Feels very strong and secure, actually. This looks like the cables that you saw out on the bow earlier that the crew members were lashed to prevent themselves from being blown overboard.
And it's got a clip, right?
The clips, the harnesses and clips are attached to these things, yes. But there are none attached to this length of cable. Basically,
so this was probably for crew access for cleaning, repairs, etc.
So for anyone to use it, they would have needed to have that material.
They would have needed a harness, yes.
And been able to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Which the halfling did have one. because he hung out with us out there in a harness.
Wait, was he a halfling or a gnome?
He's a halfling.
He's a halfling, okay.
But did you guys not have to like give your equipment back to the staff when you were finished doing your sightseeing?
You were supposed to, yes.
Supposed to.
But
And
then
I
the
think we
ship
probably
went.
did.
Honor system. They weren't like standing there going, hand it over. They were just like, here you go, enjoy, please return it when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you could argue very well, oh, well, I wasn't done. I was going to use it again in a couple hours, so I just figured I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
And does
Right.
this cord look like it could go all the way around the ship somehow, or is it only from like a point A to point B?
This particular cable goes about, it goes the entire length of these 7, well, the 4 on this side, the 4 rooms on this side, and then there's a break and then another cable. If you had the harness, which has a pair of clips, you could probably do a full circuit of the entire boat if you tried hard enough.
Just be very patient and careful so you don't mess up. Okay.
It's kind of like how they have those same clips on the Wild Play.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've ever done any type of like zip lining or anything like that, very similar.
Can I do any other sort of like investigation while I'm out here?
You sure, go ahead. We'll see what you find.
18 plus 3, 21.
21. Looking around, you're actually fairly. Mars is about 5'2", 5'3".
Yeah, about that. She's
Okay.
not the shortest, but not the tallest.
So the way that you're wedged, you're actually positioned a bit higher than you normally would be. And as you are, you can see that there is there's a railing of metal that runs just above that cable. It's only about as deep as the first 2 knuckles of your finger. But as you run your fingers along it, seeing how someone would have gripped on to move themselves and propel themselves down the way, your gloves are going to come back stained with a bit of dried blood.
Ew. Okay. Interesting. Who else is in the room with me?
Who else is in room 1 with Mars?
I probably would have stayed in.
I'll
He
actually.
is in room 5 right now.
Okay.
Okay, so looking out your window, you can see Mars leaning out the window of room 1.
Mhm. And then I'll take a look at my hand and I'll be like, hey, Malia, look. I'm sure the palm of my hand, but the finger's all bloodied.
So, looks like whoever came through the window did, in fact, at least interact with the body,
Mm-hmm.
not stabbed it, and then went back out that way.
Possibly. Yeah.
Zeno, what are you doing?
I'm outside Grimmon's door waiting for these people.
Okay.
Yeah, Tia will go back out into the hallway essentially when she's.
Once Tia's there, I'll knock on Grimmon's door.
Just a moment. The door opens and you'll see a smiling but slightly wary face looking at you of your good buddy Grimmon. His broad, flat halfling features, looking a little nervous as you open the door, but very friendly. Hello, friends. Any word on anything?
Oh, not yet. We're just talking to everybody in this area. That's all.
Oh,
Did you
sure.
hear anything? See anything weird last night?
Well, I
tonight?
was last night. I did a bit of drinking. I definitely heard some weird things going on, and he'll gesture with his chin toward Jeffrey's room, where you heard the loud carnal acts occurring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tuned that out.
Yeah, we heard that.
Hmm.
So, what kind of skills do I have here?
Now, I'm going to let you guys know, since you've never really used persuasion and intimidation for things intermittently, or like interchangeably. Once you intimidate, you can't go back to persuasion.
Oh, okay.
So
That
generally,
makes sense.
Once
persuasion is the nice way. So once you've intimidated somebody, they're scared of you.
Yeah. So once you've gone with the stick, you can't go back to the carrot.
Oh,
without,
okay.
Like a whole lot of effort.
Yeah.
Probably.
Unless you do good cop, bad cop.
Bothering. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But just so you know, mechanically, it doesn't really allow it.
Okay. So use intimidation as last resort, then probably.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just a reminder, you guys would all know that Malia can cast Zone of Truth.
Yeah.
Do you need any components for that? Like, would you have access to that?
Vocal, somatic.
Okay, cool.
But it is a second level.
Yeah. How long does it last?
It's a 10-minute, and it's a 15-foot radius. So you can clump everybody in one spot, cast it on the area, and I would know if A, they save it, B, they fail their save. They fail their save, they can't say a deliberate lie. They can avoid questions, but that's pretty damn obvious if somebody refuses to answer a question. But I will know a deliberate lie.
It would make sense then to do that after we have an idea, like once we have talked to people already.
I just wanted to make sure you guys had it in your minds for how you did character stuff.
It's the final phase of the Phoenix Wright investigation.
Fair enough.
So once you guys kind of work out what you think, all that sort of thing, then Malia can cast it on a room, and if it's a 30-foot diameter room, then there's nowhere to hide.
No one can hide from the eyes of justice.
And the truth.
We will take
The eyes of Vela.
We will take them back to the Palace of Justice. All right, so with Grimmond, I will, I guess, just ask him if he knows anything about what he knows about Deaton Von Ass, if he knew what he was carrying, and if he's had any interactions with him in the last day.
Nothing in the last... You might as well come in. You don't have to hang out in the hallway.
Fair enough.
And I will go.
All right, he lets you into his room, which is has a pair of beds, one on either side of the room. It basically mirrors your room. He leads you over to the small desk and pair of chairs that are sitting in the center of the room, and he'll sit in one of the chairs. Make yourselves at home. You can all come in if you'd like.
Tia will lean over to the... is the door closed or open right now for room 1?
To room 1, it's presently open because Malia and Mars are in there.
Then Tia's gonna call down and go, do you want to come talk to Grimmond? Well, we're in Grimmond's room. Let us know if when you come, just knock when you get here, I guess.
I think Malia would come. However, she'd want to stand in the doorway because she has no way. Oh, yes, we do have secure for the room. It will lock. Okay.
Yeah. And you have the key
want to leave
for
it unattended.
Yeah.
However, the windows have already been tampered with once.
True.
I mean, we're talking to the only guy who can actually fit through them.
Well, Mars was able to kind of sneak
Mars was able to because she's a contortionist.
This is also true.
That's not to say that the elf wouldn't be, though. She's an actress.
Elves can be scrawny. So,
I think Malia will just maybe stay within sight lines of it.
Just hang out in the doorway?
Yeah, kind of lurk. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mars, what are you doing during this?
Well, after checking out the window and finding the blood, I don't think there's a way to be able to compare like the blood that was in the room and the blood that was on the railing, is there?
You can make me an intelligence roll.
How intelligent am I? I'll give it a try.
Actually, you can use investigation, so if you're proficient in the skill, you can add that to it as well.
Like, would you want me to, like, you see... straight up intelligence?
Actually, for
No.
this, you can either roll me investigation or insight. So nobody forget that, or everyone remember, which is the positive way of saying that, that you can roll insight for clues. If you...
And can you also not use investigation for logical deductions about?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I was
if
reading
your-
about that, trying to figure
if your
out how exactly
character
that...
would know this, it's not cheating to use that.
Okay. So 19 plus 3, putting me at 22.
You remember something from last session that was told to you. Grimmin is Grimmin is crippled on at least one of his hands. He wears a prosthetic underneath a pair of gloves. Meaning that if there's a blood stain from dried blood on your gloves, their wet blood should definitely have stained whatever gloves he would have been wearing if that was his hand. You'd probably want to search his room and see if there was any such trace.
Okay, then I will go and knock on the door and ask to come in.
Sure. You'll knock on the door frame. Malio steps aside to let you in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's an entire party. So you wanted to ask me questions about Mr. That asshole?
Mr.
Yeah.
Scorpion, yes.
Scorpion. What a piece of shit.
So
Do
you
you
didn't
know
like
him
it
then?
very much then, did you?
Look, I've done my dealing with groups. I know all about the Black Spiders. I know all about the Benevolent Order. But that guy? Fuck him. He deserves what he got.
Okay.
How bad was it?
How bad was it?
I mean, he's
Um,
he,
he's dead, so there's that.
Yeah, well, was it... Did it look painful?
didn't look fun.
Good.
Didn't look particularly painful.
Bad. He deserved a lot worse. At least they'll be definitely taking care of him in whatever hell he ends up in.
So, I mean, granted, he didn't seem to be very well liked among people. So, you haven't had any interaction with him in the last day?
I had to bump into him at the bar, where he was buying some pretty expensive brandy for the evening to bring back up, but that's about it.
You
Tried
chat with him at the time?
Hell no. I'll let him go ahead of me to get him the hell out of there.
Had you had dealings with him, like, in much with him
I've
before?
heard... The Scorpion has a history of slave trading. I'm not very fond of it. And I've seen the poisons that he uses and that he manufactures cause a lot of harm to people over the years. Mars, as you enter the room and take a look around, you'll notice that two things. Let me just see something real quick. Looking around, you'll notice that Grimmin is actually just sitting there at the table talking to your friends. Tia, are you standing or are you sitting on one of the beds?
I think she's probably standing. If he's sitting at a table, she might be leaning, like, got her hip up against it, kind of.
Okay. So, and Zeno's sitting at the table with him?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically card table. You can see that he's got his hands folded in his lap, his right hand underneath his left hand. And he's not wearing any gloves. His thumb is just slowly, you can just see it out of the corner of your eye, picking at the stump where his index finger on his right hand would have been. Seems like a nervous tick.
Mars, you got anything you want to add?
When I was checking outside, I found dry blood on the railing.
Okay.
Yeah. Wanted to see
Wonder
what you
if-
guys had in here.
If I had any railings? Or any
No.
dried blood?
No,
Well,
just
I
seeing
mean,
how things were going
obviously
inside
we're looking
here.
for that in anywhere we happen to be. But
Yeah.
Probably coughed up a little in the sink. This dry air is bad for my sinuses, but should be good. Look, if between you and me, the person you should probably be checking is Umir Bell.
We're checking everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
We're
why'd you say
we're
that? Like anything in particular we should look for?
Aside
I know there's been a lot of tension, and I saw him go into Deaton's room last night.
Yeah, we heard that argument.
Oh, there's an argument? I knew that they'd had some tension there, and that Umir had been talking about some business dealings with them, but
How often have we seen Grimmin just around the boat?
fairly often.
Was he always wearing gloves?
Yeah. Yep, that's what he puts his prosthetic under them, so that it's non-visible.
But
So is
did
he not
the
wearing his prosthetic right now? Like, has
He's
he
not.
removed it?
You cannot see a prosthetic. Basically, he's sitting with his hands crossed over each other. His left hand appears to be intact, but his right hand he's kind of cupping over. But you can definitely see the beginning of the end of the stub of his index finger, kind of jutting out. He's keeping both of his hands.
The left is over the right?
Yeah.
Covering his right hand.
Does it seem like the left might be his dominant?
Nope.
Sorry, was this something under the table that Mars noticed?
Yeah. With
Yeah,
her
so it's not clearly
Yeah, it's not obvious.
visible.
Yeah. So Mars got it because of her investigation roll. So coming specifically into the room, she was thinking about hands, looked down, could see under the table where he has his hands kind of hidden. And you can definitely tell he's not wearing gloves or his prosthetic, which is something you can feel free to bring up.
No, I actually want to... Yeah, don't bring it up yet.
Okay.
Now, Tia is looking to see if she can see any sand, like, on the ground, like someone opened the window recently. Or maybe tracked sand in.
Is there anything on the table right now?
There's a bottle of wine and a glass that has some like residue at the bottom. Looks like he'd been drinking a while ago.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Tia, you can make me an investigation roll.
Sure. Oh, that was not so good. That's going to be a 5.
You gonna use your inspiration?
Sure. It's going to be a 5.
Holy crap.
Roll it twice.
I hate it when that happens.
Looking around, you're like,
It's a room.
It's
All right.
yeah, this
Can I
carpet's
do a
really...
perception check from the doorway? Like, just look and see, is there a picture frame crooked? Is anything weird? That maybe a
Okay.
bit out of place looking?
Go ahead.
Okay. $25.
As you are there, the windows all have, at least in the cheaper compartments, they have these kind of dull red. Once upon a time they were maroon, but the sun from the desert has kind of bleached them out to kind of a dry salmon color. Curtains that dangle on either side of the window. And as you are looking into the room, you will notice that a little wisp of the curtain, just the bottom of its the right side curtain's hem, is actually trapped in the window itself. It looks like it was shut on the curtain. And you get the sense that you want to look at that.
Okay. You know what? I am just gonna walk in and investigate that without saying anything or drawing attention necessarily. I'm just gonna go over and look at it before you can say anything.
Okay. You're going to pull it out of the window?
Sure.
Okay. As you do, you will see that there is a singular but very apparent round bloodstain on the window pane behind it.
On the inside or outside?
On the inside. It looks like someone put their hand down to brace themselves as they were coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And probably missed cleaning it because the rest of the windowsill is immaculately cleaned.
While she's doing that, I want to walk into the room a bit more towards the table, talking about like how I had overheard the argument between Mirabelle and the deceased, and actually knock into the table to make the wine and the glass fall over.
Okay, go ahead and make me a sleight of hand roll.
31.
Hoping he'll do the pull his hands out thing.
Okay, so the sequence of events is going to go like this. As you see Malia go in with her eyes locked on something, you instinctively react, head forward, start talking. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Bring your hip up into the table.
Like as if I was just like, ugh, and then hit myself.
He is going to jut his hand quickly forward. Actually, Zeno,
Yep.
would you like to do a reflex save to catch the wine as well?
Yes.
Because that seems like something you would do.
Always save the wine.
Always save the wine, so go ahead and make me a reflex save.
What am I using for this?
Oh, that would be dexterity, wouldn't
Sorry, dex save, dex save.
Deck save.
Goddamn Pathfinder.
Reflex save.
System drift.
So that's just like straight dex modifier?
It's dex plus if you have proficiency in it.
Oh, okay. So we have like 25.
That's totally enough. All right, so Mars, you're going to go forward, bump the table. The table's going to bang into the wall. The bottle is going to jet, hit the wall, and tip over to the center of table. Zeno's hand is going to swoop out and catch the bottle by its neck, cradling it before it spills more than a drop. And Grimmin
Some
is
heroes
going.
over capes.
Grimmin is going to jet his hand out a second too late, and with his right hand is going to basically catch Zeno's hand in his, at which point everyone is going to notice that he is grabbed onto Zeno's hand with his mangled right. He is not wearing a glove, he does not have his prosthetics on, and you can see the cauterized stumps from where his two trigger fingers were at one point. As he is bent over to catch the bottle, Malia, you will reach over, sweep open the window, sweep open the curtain, and see the bloodstain. That's all going to happen in one smooth motion.
Well, this is great.
It is.
I'm gonna then kind of turn with my back to the window and look around the rest of the room.
That
Thanks.
looks painful.
Not anymore. Just it itches sometimes, but that's about it.
Which how's your prosthetic working for you? Is it still good shape?
Where is
like
it?
You broke it earlier.
It's thanks for fixing it. No, it makes the old wounds itch a bit more, so I don't always wear it when I'm by myself. Sorry. Would you prefer if I covered myself up?
No, that's fine. Just wondering if my vending job worked.
It worked great. Where
I'm a
is it?
dwarf,
Oh,
I'm concerned about this sort of thing.
I just put it away when it's not in use.
That's fair.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which way does he glance towards when he says that?
Ooh.
Because you look like you glance to the side, so...
He glances back at the dresser by the bed that looks like it's been used behind him.
Okay.
In fact, given the way that he's positioned himself in the room, you can see that all of his belongings are more or less on Umir Bell's wall side of the room. He's been using that predominantly and has positioned himself so that his back is to his belongings more than to you. He's between you and his stuff.
Mm.
You normally wear gloves with your prosthetics, though, right?
Yeah, they help fortify the gears and keep them in place and lodged correctly, and plus they don't look weird for for normal people.
May I see them?
Yeah, quick question. From last game.
Sure.
Who was it? Tia who overheard Grimmin wanting to move rooms? Only one person overheard that.
Yes, you overheard it because Mars was super drunk.
Right. Okay. Because in that case, that's something. Yeah, I'll want to bring that up in a second.
Sure. Sure, I can show them to you if you really want, lady, but it's a little personal. Do you want to see anything else I've got? Because you should ask your friends to leave first.
just the gloves.
Why? Do you have other types of prosthetics?
Oh no, the just completely working fingers.
Okay, cool. What can you tell us of? I mean, I heard a bit of your discussion with the boat staff about trying to change rooms. And you mentioned something about the sarcophagus being cursed.
Oh yeah, that thing is a nightmare. It needs to get the hell off of this boat and fast.
How did what can you tell me about it? Is who would, other than Umir Bell, like who else would be interested?
You know what? It wouldn't put me. It wouldn't surprise me if the Scorpion was planning to use that type of curse as some type of weaponized thing. You know, sell it to the highest bidder. You know. But no, I honestly just I had originally hoped for your room has a bit more space in it. It's the beds are a little lower in your room and a little nicer. Yeah, they are a little lower as if you think about it. But honestly, it's just a little more comfortable. I'm getting old.
But it's also closer to the cursed casket.
I'll take a little more curse for a softer bed. It's only a couple weeks. And I paid for it. I don't know why I got shunted off into here.
Yeah, it seems a little odd how they decide this, the rooms.
Would you like to make me an insight roll, Tia?
Sure. I'm gonna use a different dice. That one's betrayed me a few times.
Anybody who wants to make an insight roll can.
Sure. Yeah, we're all listening to this, so.
16.
16?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
seems,
16.
Seems legit.
15. Yeah.
It seems like he does look like a pretty old halfling. Is there anything else I can help you with? Like, I'm happy.
I wanted to see the gloves.
Oh.
You were serious about that?
Yeah.
She gets very curious about things.
Which room number was he in again?
We should be
He's in room 6.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay,
on-
so he's... Oh, yeah, I see.
Okay. Are you sure you want to? It's a little personal, but okay, sure. He'll get up and walk over to the dresser and open it up, and he'll pull out a glove and hold it up, and yeah, see, it's pretty basic. You just slide in. He'll pull it on his hand, and he'll mess with his fingers for a moment. Pull a couple of.
No, Tia hadn't actually seen this before because she wasn't out on the deck, so she's watching this quite curiously.
Yeah, see, it's pretty
Wait,
good.
do they actually have mobility?
And may I see?
Yeah. Do you want it off?
No, keep your hand in it. It's really cool.
Basically,
And I'm looking deeply at like the grooves and stuff of the glove,
no,
where little particles could get stuck inside.
It's got some sand in it, but pretty much everything around here does.
Yeah.
It's pretty well worn, but actually, it looks almost like it's been recently refurbished.
How recently?
Very recently, almost like your cleric repaired it yesterday.
But it would have had signs of blood after that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a glove would probably show signs of glove. It's a very soft leather, so that it has a bit more of a grip, kind of a suede. And definitely it's hard to get blood out of suede.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it just seems perfectly clean. Like,
So more likely he has more than one pair.
That's fascinating. Where do you get something like that?
I had a custom made, actually, by a friend of mine.
It's very... I don't know. I knew a lot of people who got various limbs and things removed from time to time. Hazard of the job. Always wondered
Yeah.
if there's something they could have had done for them.
Always. So you got some artificers. They're really, really clever fellows. And ladies, of course. And theydies, of course. Yeah, but clever people.
Yeah, not too many where I come from.
You got to go down south. That's where most of them congregate. Can I take this guy off now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. It gets a little itchy. I like to air it out. And he'll take it apart. Mars. Simplest thing. I'm just going to put this out on the table because you're not seeing it in person. It's easy to overlook certain details. If you're interested about checking for something, what did I show you and what did I not show you?
Wait, what? Can you say that again?
So, you were looking for something specific.
Mm-hmm.
So, he reached in, grabbed his right glove, put it on, showed you his right glove.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't show you his left.
What about the left glove?
Oh, it's just a regular glove. I don't need it. I've still got my fingers.
Yeah, I see it.
Do you usually wear a pair, or is it just... Because I guess it would look kind of odd if you just wore the one.
Seriously, I knew this dancer that used to wear one all the time. It was just weird.
Is he not going into his drawer? Because I'll just go into the drawer myself.
All right, so reaching into the drawer. Oh, hey, if you wouldn't mind, I'd prefer you not do that.
It's okay, I'm not staff.
Okay, and going through there really quickly. Can you just make me a quick investigation roll?
It'd be a sleight of hand, because that's better.
Sure, I'll let it be sleight of hand for this.
Because it also gives me
bonus.
Also, while Mars is being this distracting, can I try and catch Tia and Xeno's eye?
I mean, Tia was pretty focused on the glove itself as well, because,
36.
she was a bit distracted by it.
Yeah, that's fair. But
So, I mean, if you
Molly's
going to
try and catch your guys' eye without catching his.
Xeno is probably already looking at you.
Mars, two things are going to happen with that roll. Malia, you're going to catch Tia and Xeno's eye.
I'm going to indicate the windowsill and pull the thing aside to show the blood stain.
Mars, you're going to reach inside, flip your hand around a second, and a moment later you're going to feel the supple texture of suede, and you're going to pull the glove out. However,
Wait, I have a glove.
As you pull it out, though, your wrist bangle, because you had a bangle, right?
Yeah.
Is going to tap
Metal.
against some
Heavy.
Yep. There's something heavy and metal inside of the cabinet, kind of obscured at the back. And
Grab it.
You're gonna grab it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your wrist got caught.
You are going to pull out a platinum ingot.
Whoa.
It is stamped with a design that looks very familiar, actually. It's vaguely shaped like a beetle. And in fact, looks like one of the symbols that you saw on the side of the sarcophagus.
Hey. How'd this get here?
That's my money.
But the beetle sign.
It was stamped inside of the platinum. It's a trademark.
From
That's the way that ingots work. They're normally stamped by the local mint.
Okay.
True.
While he's talking about that, I'm also looking at the left glove.
The left glove has a blood stain on the middle finger.
So you're telling me that you have a ingot that's marked with the same signature, basically, that's also on the sarcophagus next door. And there's blood on the left glove. I'll look over at the rest of the group.
Well, Mars is doing this. Can Tia edge into the doorway?
Yep.
Okay.
She's gonna be the block.
I'm gonna be a wall for a
Mike's
moment.
still blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Come on,
You can do it.
autofocus. You can do it.
We do this with your hands.
We believe in you.
I think that
It's
worked
a bit better.
It's better.
There we go.
All right, good. Finally, he's beautiful. All right, so Tia, you scoot over to block the door. Malia, you gesture to Zeno and Tia, the windowsill.
Yeah, like Tia will nod and then shift.
Huh. Swore I got that one. He says, looking where your eyes are looking.
So I'm just chilling at the table, just looking at him.
Do you mind pouring me a glass of wine, Tall?
Really?
I think I could probably use a drink, yeah.
How about we finish your conversation first, and then you can have a drink.
Okay. That ingot's worth about 1,000 gold pieces worth of platinum. It was a down payment.
On
acquiring the dagger for Umir Bell.
Just the dagger.
Just the dagger.
Do you still have it?
I gave it to Umir Bell. That's how I got the ingot.
Okay.
He has it. He has it right now.
So
I'm gonna sit down if you don't mind.
yeah.
He's gonna head over to his chair and sit back down and.
So, being given a job, as I'm often given similar jobs, the implication of getting the product and something else happening. Are you saying that that's what happened?
Wait. Mally will pipe up from the corner and, how about you walk us through what happened?
I was supposed to be a backup option. Umir Bell was going to try to buy the sarcophagus outright and get it returned to his family.
Mm-hmm.
The Umir arranged for me to be on this voyage as well, since it was on my way anyway. So asked me to stick around and arrive on the same sailing as him. I was supposed to be in your room to make it easy just in case, but they messed up the booking. I tried to get him to fix it.
And you didn't actually try to kill him, you tried to poison him.
No, I hid in the closet. I got in there right before Umir Bell went in and negotiated.
Kelly, can you remind me if I saw this guy down in that shop area? Was it the same guy or was it someone else?
No, that was the assistant, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Who was Jeffrey again? I keep on
Jeffrey's
forgetting.
the human assistant.
He's the one who is having a wild time with the potentially not elf
girl
in room 2.
And whose assistant was he?
He was Deaton Von S's assistant.
He was the Scorpion's assistant.
He's the butler.
Yeah.
So I saw him down in the shops.
Yeah, and you guys agreed to not remember each other.
Yeah, because he actually identified you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Because he had been delivering a shipment to the poison dealer.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, so he was delivering two. He wasn't. Okay, cool.
And that's why you got a poison discounted, because it had been mislabeled.
Whoops.
So if you were in the wardrobe then while he was arguing with Umir.
I was supposed to wait for him to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. What else did you hear?
Well, I waited for a while, but I'd had a couple of drinks to get my nerve up since I had to do wire work to get in. I kind of fell asleep.
Really? In that serious of a situation where you could have been discovered any moment? You fell asleep?
When you drink enough, it's easy to just fall asleep.
And I've been in places like that enough that honestly, after the wire work, I just crashed out. I mean, I'm not a young man anymore.
Well, woke you up.
I heard someone stabbing him.
Did you get a look?
Hell no. all my knives, all of my personal defensive gear is locked under my bed.
Does it seem like he's telling the truth?
Go ahead and make me an insight roll.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that too because I'm staring directly at this
Nat
guy.
20.
Yeah.
So
Nat 20?
23.
23?
19.
15.
15? It seems like so. It seems like so. Honestly, you guys picked the easy level for interrogation, which is good.
Hey, cool.
It's nice. You're going through them in order of easy toward hard, which is nice.
Don't worry, we'll throw a wrench in your plans. Unintentionally.
So, I know that I fell asleep while I was waiting for him to fall asleep. I woke up to the sound. I mean, you know the sound of murder. It's a pretty obvious sound. The sucking noises, the sound of bones crunching and
Did you hear anything like his last words or someone else's voice?
It was pretty muffled inside of the wardrobe.
Any hint?
I heard water running.
Okay.
So they turned on the taps to wash their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm guessing they just left the dagger?
I waited for the door to shut, and I grabbed the dagger afterwards.
And it had been used?
Oh yeah, it was still sticking out of his chest.
Okay.
So
Grab the
the
dagger.
From
The dagger.
like
The one
someone
from the
opened
sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I climbed back around, so that there wasn't any trace of me. Cleaned the dagger off and gave it to Belle.
All right.
So someone went in just to kill him, but not take anything. Is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the only the only thing that was missing from the sarcophagus when you were
As far as you knew.
that we could tell based on the impressions.
Yeah, and if you're asking him that, he'll shrug.
Yeah.
I was
Because
there
then
for.
we're assuming everything else is still locked inside the under bed compartments.
I took the Cetaphil dagger. I don't know about anything else. I wasn't paid for anything else. I'm not a grave robber. It belongs with the person who is descended from, right? It's his ancestors' item. It was just returning it to the right person.
I'm not judging that.
I didn't kill anybody. I don't have the stomach for it anymore. I'm on my way to judgment in a few years anyway, so I like to be as clean as possible.
So why did you suggest that we talk to Umir Bell then?
I mean, he's already paid me, so I figured that, I don't know, honestly, I figured he'd throw money at you to shut you up.
I mean, he can throw money at us anyways, and we'll just keep talking, but I'll take the money.
Okay.
I appreciate you being so forthcoming with this, and so it gives more clues, more ideas.
I didn't kill anybody, okay? I'm willing to help you as much as possible to find who did, because he's a piece of shit and he's gonna burn in one of the hells, but...
Well, the thing is that someone killed him, and whoever it was is, once they're found, or whoever's accused of it here, is likely to have a very bad time.
Another reason why I should cooperate.
Well, and
Maybe you'll forget about me when it comes time to tell the captain what happened.
also I can guarantee you that if you do get called up and you are telling the truth, I can cast Zone of Truth and prove it.
Sounds great.
So, just something to keep in mind.
I'm gonna have that drink now.
I'll put the bottle of wine on the table.
Thank you.
Well, shall we move on to the next?
I guess.
I
Let's actually meet in one of our rooms real quick and discuss.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Leaving Grimmin behind, you head back into into Zeno and Malia's room because it's the closest. It's right across the hall.
Mhm.
The door latches behind you. And what do you do?
So, from what you've said of that argument that you guys overheard, Umir was mainly concerned with getting his property back.
Yeah.
Or what he considered to be his property. He didn't seem all that inclined towards killing the guy. I mean, he had all these letters from him in the guy's space Umir had written. That
So
basically went from politely asking and offering payment and all that to slightly more intense, but not really outright threatening, it seemed like.
like intense, but not necessarily
My
outright
impression...
violence threatening.
It was very ambiguous.
Mm.
So I have a feeling he was trying to threaten, but not really threaten.
He really doesn't strike me as the type.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he also has the most motive of anyone else.
That's
Who
true.
knows? Aside from your chickie, she sounded absolutely
yeah.
100% hated this guy.
Honestly,
True.
think everyone we talk to is going to sound like they hate this guy.
Yeah,
But she sounded personal.
It's true.
Remember, she was very intensely not happy about him.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, he wasn't exactly nice to his assistant either,
Hmm.
but we did find elf chicks ring in
Yeah.
the sink.
Out of everyone, I
Someone-
think his assistant would have the easiest time to getting in and out.
Also, did Mars tell us about the poison?
She
No,
did.
she's
Or
you.
at least
Did
she
you
told
actually?
us now.
I mean, like the poison that was found around his like mouth.
No, that the assistant. was
Oh,
selling.
no, she hadn't said that.
No.
You didn't. You
Oh,
didn't say
okay.
anything about the black market.
No.
Although you could.
Yeah.
I just
seems to be
don't.
great.
So I guess
Yeah.
I mean, she could have poisoned him. Besides
Maybe
the
weaken
assistant
him
being a
and
bit
then-
like, he sounded a bit rude to him, but other than that,
Mm,
he was probably getting paid because he'd be keeping secrets and
Mm-hmm.
right, like you pay the person closest to you well to keep them loyal.
unless
Yeah.
there was
Other
something.
than that, or you have something over them.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there was something, or maybe they were. Maybe two people were working together.
Are we still talking in this dude's room and including
we've-
him in our?
No,
Okay.
no, we left.
Okay.
We left. We went to your and Zeno's room.
Okay.
What Mally and Zeno's room?
Not
Yeah.
in Zeno's room. Blah, words.
So I will bring up the fact that when we were docked in that last city, that I had gone down into the like black market shop boutique.
Actually, I would have steered us into Mars and Tia's room.
Okay.
Because me and Zeno's room would have had two people on either side who could listen in.
Okay.
That's true. Versus
Whereas yours would
empty
only
and-
have the guy we've already cleared.
Yeah.
So,
that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
also, I was
so
planning to talk relatively quietly. I'm just talking normally for the stream.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So inside of your room, you're continuing, and Mars, continue your talk.
Yeah, so I'll tell them what I saw when I was down there with him giving the package to the shopkeeper and that it was being poisoned.
Mhm.
so I mean, he could have provided poison
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or poisoned the guy.
Yeah. But
What?
with him, it's a very open. How to describe it? It's like he was already working for the guy, so he had an income, but unless he wanted out.
He also has a very good alibi.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But he
Personally, I'm
also,
suspicious of both of them.
was he staying in the room, or did he have his own room?
He was in room 2.
The one across the hall from us.
This room right now.
Yeah.
But he was in what's her face's room, wasn't she?
She was in his room.
She was in his.
And one of the reasons that I got a certain discount of supplies from the shopkeeper was because he had mislabeled the poisons.
Huh. I feel like he wouldn't have lasted long as the Scorpion's assistant if he was mislabeling poisons.
Mm-hmm. So it could have been on purposely mislabeled.
Also, though, don't forget, don't we only have Elf Girl's word that this is the Scorpion?
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually know that for sure. She's the one who told us that.
Grimmin
That's
seems
true.
to think the same, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it is strange that she would... Right. Yeah.
Just out that
Yeah.
calmly in public.
To a group of
to anybody.
strangers.
So, who do we want to talk to next? Do we want to talk to Umir or the elf or
Should probably
Jeffrey?
just talk to Umir. It sounds like he probably didn't have anything to do with actually killing him. Doesn't
But he
really have a
might-
motive. He paid
might-
for the guy to steal the... Why would he have gone in and killed him while his guy was sitting there in the wardrobe waiting to steal the thing?
Mhm. But if we speak to him next, it might help us get a better idea of the picture, and he might have seen something or heard something.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll
So-
essentially cross him off.
Yeah.
So he's
I think that's a good
unlikely
idea.
to have done it.
All right.
Okay.
So do you head over?
Yeah.
Crossing the hall briskly, you approach Umir Bell's door. Who knocks?
I'll knock. Chunk, chunk, chunk.
He opens the door, and as soon as he does, you can see that his eye shines as he looks at you. His left eye is heavily bruised. And you can see there's quite a bit of bruising along the dark skin of his right arm, as well as some scrapes and cuts. Hello.
Yikes.
I overheard that you were being the ones who were investigating.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You are welcome inside. Come.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
What happened here? You look rough.
I fell.
Uh-huh.
We heard
Onto
your
eye?
argument.
I was, my fall was assisted.
Mm.
Well, let's hear all about your assisted fall.
I approached Mr. Van S. In an attempt to try to purchase some merchandise he was transporting.
Your ancestor.
Yes. He refused. I pushed harder. He had the gall to open the sarcophagus in front of me.
Hmm.
To pull out an ancient relic and wave it in my face. I tried to grab it from him, and he struck me, and I fell. And then he told me to get out of his room or else he would kill me.
Hmm.
Ashamed to say that I left.
Insight?
I mean,
Go ahead.
May I also insight?
You may.
there's
you may.
no shame in a well-considered retreat.
Nat 20!
Necessary.
20.
Heck.
Nice, I only got a 16.
16. You think he's telling the truth for the most part.
There might have been more to it.
Amy, you definitely think he's telling the truth-ish. You think there's things that he's omitting, but the things that he said are factual beats.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, do you have to go do your thing?
No, I've got it.
Oh, it's already here.
It's already here. That's why I had to run out of the room.
Oh, okay. Mike got a pizza in the middle of the game. Slacker.
Prize pizza!
Although, Tia,
Mhm.
with that nat 20, you're going to remember that inside of the room next to the bed, there was a table that looked like it had been flipped with a lot of broken glass on the ground.
Right.
Like, it was like a coffee table with a couple of chairs that had been overturned.
Okay.
A bunch of broken glasses and bottles on the ground.
So,
You think that that he definitely, if he fell into something like and His arms are covered in scratch marks. It looks like very, very likely he looks like he came out of a bar fight right now.
Okay,
which
so it
is
looks like he would have fallen into the table and...
Yep. He's Umir Bell's body was probably the reason for all that glass breaking.
Right. So...
How do you...
Oh. Just... trying to think it through.
What will happen to the property now that the man is dead?
I don't know.
I don't know.
think that's for us to decide.
I
think
think that'll be up to the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the highest authority on the ship, so. But no one's going to get anything if this doesn't get solved.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here talking to everybody, just figuring out what's going on.
Yep.
What time did you leave Van S's room? Do you remember?
It was near midnight, probably. I wasn't quite paying attention. It's hard to tell on the boat. I could tell that there was cavorting.
Was the ship moving at the time?
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. And have you been in your room since then?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably had to tend to some of these wounds. Yeesh.
I'm very grateful to Grimmin, actually. He came and visited me after he heard me return.
Oh.
He helped me bandage my arm, actually.
Huh.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he seems like an interesting fellow. Sorry, I'm just out of character, writing notes.
Mally is going to pipe up with, I will remind you, I am a cleric of Vela, and Zone of Truth is well within my ability. Just so you're aware.
Means that we can
In
verify...
your best interest, if you're not guilty of this, to be as open and honest with us as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that there were several conflicting interests in this case.
You can make me a persuasion roll.
I will. Actually, you know what? I'm doing this with inspiration.
That's fair.
Oh.
Don't fail me now, dice. All right, that's an unnatural 20.
Nice.
All right. The dagger is hidden in this room.
I know.
Grimmin is an archaeologist, but he used to be a thief.
We know.
He used to liberate things from inside of tombs, and when I found out that he was traveling in this direction, I hired him. He was my second contingency plan.
Okay. What was your first?
I paid the boy Jeffrey 200 gold pieces to get me an opportunity to acquire the weapon, and offered him a high price should he liberate it himself.
Okay.
And
There
what
was 100.
happened?
I don't know. I gave him the money. I told him to consider it.
Okay.
There was $100 down payment on the merchandise as well inside of the bag. Mars, while you were searching the room, you remember finding in Deaton Von S's quarters a bag full of about 300 gold pieces.
I will bring that up.
Then he's a very loyal dog.
Mm-hmm.
So that fell
Now-
through.
Sorry, just out of character. It was the halfling,
Mhm.
Umir, the boy Jeffrey, and the elf are the only other people on this side, right?
They're the only people you have to contend with. So you're halfway
Cool.
done.
Okay.
And the elf was in 7 or 4?
4. Her room's 4. She was staying in 2 last night.
Yeah.
You are presently in room 7.
Gotcha.
Beyond that, there's not much more that I...
You didn't leave your quarters at all afterwards?
Once the Sonific Blade was in my possession, I felt no need to.
Hmm.
I believe that it is the curse of having the blade removed by a heathen that has locked this vessel to be consumed by the sands. If you allow me, I can return the dagger and offer a prayer in hopes of lessening the curse's impact on this vessel.
Well, for right now, I think it's best if everyone just stays in their rooms.
We're going to try and see how quickly we can pull this to an end, but I think we'd have to ask the captain.
Yeah. So that,
She's
Everyone's-
aware.
yeah, everyone's in the loop.
As he's saying this, he's pacing his room slightly. He's normally a very well-dressed man, but right now he's dressed in more comfortable clothing. He's wearing a long tunic that stretches all the way from its high collar down almost to the mid-calf.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing a pair of leggings underneath of it, and a pair of soft slippers, which you've never seen him in, but their soft, curly-toed slipper is quite comfortable. But this room is also spick and span. Out of all of the rooms here, this is the neatest. He definitely is a very clean man. In fact, the entryway is a bit of the only place where there is any mess at all. And as you entered, if you walked in to look around the room, he would wince down at your shoes. You would notice him. He wouldn't stop you or correct you, but you would notice him tense.
So
Would it
looks
occur
like
to me to take my shoes off if I saw that?
Yeah, I think it would.
Okay, yeah. Then I would have.
Or orcs tend to go barefoot inside of their tents because it just feels better.
Yeah.
So it's not that uncommon. As you do, can you do me a favor and make me a perception roll?
Sure. It's going to be a 19.
As you set your shoes down to come in, you will nudge his over, and you will hear just the barest of something sharp dragging on carpet.
Pick up shoe to check and make sure I haven't damaged the carpet.
No, your shoe's fine.
No, like
It-
whatever got pushed, or like his shoe.
As you pick it up, you can see that the bottom of his hard-soled shoes that he would wear out, you've always seen him in these, have bits of broken glass stuck to the bottom of them.
Well, that makes sense if he was in the room when he got
And a strip of paper.
Ooh.
paper.
You slowly peel it away. It's definitely been wet, and as you touch it, there's this strange, slightly floral aroma that wafts up at you from the bottom of his shoes. It's very blurred. The ink in the paper has since bled through from other liquids striking it. But you think you can make out the word torpor? And then it looks like there's some numbers next to it. A 1 and a 0.
Like 0, 1 or 1, 0, like 10.
10. Yeah. torpor, 10, and then some notation.
Remind me, do I know what has...
Mars, did you specifically
Mars-
mention torpor?
Did Mars describe torpor to us last time? I know...
I believe she did.
Yeah, I know someone described some poison.
Then, yeah, that Mars would have described the torpor to you then.
Gonna nudge Mars?
Mars,
Show her piece of
Tia
paper?
hands you the slip of paper, and the second you look at it, you can see that it's written in the same script that your purple worm venom and all of the other poisons that you procured, save a couple of random ones. But the discounted purple worm venom is written in the same flowing script.
I'll turn to Tia and let her know that it's written the exact same ink and handwriting.
So, possibly... Now, did we see any examples of Van Ness's writing when we were in his room? Did anyone? It was letters to him, not anything he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you saw his at all.
Okay.
Didn't see
I
any
don't know necessarily
correspondence
that
or
we
anything.
would know for sure if it was his, because he had his assistant do it for him.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
right?
true.
No way to really tell until Jeffrey writes something down in front of
That's-
you.
Very true. Fair enough. I mean,
I
that's still something to think about. But yeah, she'll be
will
like,
actually ask Umir of. So it looks like you got thrown into a lot of glass.
He had a bunch of
Can you
things on the
describe it?
table.
Bunch
He
of
had-
bottles.
He had, I think there was a vial. There were some bottles of wine and some glasses. It looked like he'd been drinking there for a while. I think there was a vial. I think I thought it was a sleeping aid or something, maybe, or maybe.
Do you remember if it was full or empty?
It was. There was some in it. I think it was kind of a dark purple.
Okay.
I think it was. The room was fairly dim, and
No, that's good to know. Thank you.
as you're looking at the slip of paper, flipping it around in your hand, you can see that it looks like it is like a potions distiller. As far as poisons, it's a concentration amount of parts per thousand, or parts per 10,000 usually. You'll be able to do the scaling pretty well, and this looks like it's about 10 parts per thousand, so fairly diluted. But as you're playing around with the piece of paper, you notice that the zero overlaps on the back as well. And the paper's kind of pulped together from moisture. But Mars, as you're looking at it and showing it to Tia, you can see a soft dissimilarity between the two circles.
Did someone stick a label over it?
It looks like part of the label had been folded under.
And
This is
she if she takes off like one of her own gloves and like takes her nail to try to like scratch it to unfold it.
It's pretty stuck together, but yeah, with a little bit of effort, you can fold it out, and this is 100 parts per thousand instead of 10 parts per thousand. 10 times the potency that was labeled.
This is the strong stuff.
So
Now, when Mars described torpor to us, did it have any recreational uses?
No, it's a paralytic that's usually used in the slave trade. I will allow anyone here to make me an insight roll. Mars, you may make me an insight roll with advantage given your background.
okay.
Insight
You
roll?
said insight?
Yeah.
16.
Nat 20.
At 20.
Good job.
Okay.
27.
All right.
I'm like,
so,
poison.
so Mars, you're going to get this immediately as you're looking at this. So for standard terminology, we're going to say that for torpor, it's based on parts per thousand. Okay, 1,000 parts per thousand is straight torpor. It basically will cause you to have a cardiac arrest. Your lungs will fail immediately. It's basically useless at that level for what its intended purpose is. At 100 parts, it's lethal, or can be lethal if combined with alcohol. Basically, depressants and depressants. 10 parts per thousand is a really strange amount. It wouldn't be really enough to do more than get someone maybe a little buzzed. It's not a pleasant buzz. But for the two of you with successes, I'll ask you this. Why would someone take a very small amount of a poison?
To fake something, fake their own.
Potentially, but if you were a very nervous person...
Who would get a
seem
success?
normal? No.
So Malia and Mars both got this. As you're looking at that, you think that at that level of poisoning, the only reason to dilute a poison that much would be if you drank it regularly, to build up a tolerance.
I had an inkling.
And if dude either accidentally or it looks like maybe on purpose made it look like it was weaker than it was.
Definitely could have been an easy way to have someone die.
Or at least incapacitate him enough that he couldn't resist being killed.
Because mixed with alcohol...
Or, enough to just make him pass out, take what you needed to, and then hopefully get out before he woke up again without having to kill him. But then messed up.
Maybe.
So you'll see that. Umer Bell
Sounds like though it was already drank before Umer ever went in, right? Because it was already almost empty. And then he got thrown into it, so it all got broken. So you couldn't have drank it afterwards.
It does take a little while to take.
So it would have been drank before Umer entered the room, probably.
Yeah, it had been in his system, kind of going through before it would actually hit him.
I mean, there's an easy question you could ask him right now. Did he
drink anything while you were in the room? Did he drink anything while you were in the room? Was he finishing a glass of wine?
Yes, he offered me one, but I don't drink. It doesn't fit my constitution.
Good.
Why? It gives me a stomach
From what
ache.
I'm looking at, and what I've guessed, he was building up his tolerance to poison.
There's a chance that...
And that would have probably affected you. There's a chance to put it in the bottle, not in his glass.
I see.
So, good practice. Okay, so he's drinking it at the time then.
The timeline does check out.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you think you can tell us?
And I get other...
Anything else you noticed about any of the other passengers?
Or...
Well, Jeffrey or Emerald?
I mean, and aside from yourself having business with Van Ness, who else?
Emerald... The Lady Emerald tried to make an advance at me a couple of days ago. She was very aggressive. I am not interested. She's not my type. And I'm already betrothed. So, not up my alley, I suppose. But I did notice that her behavior seems, the bit I saw her this morning sticking her head out, she appears far more modest behind closed doors than she is in public.
Pardon?
Oh, she was wearing a headscarf. Kind of a strange thing to be wearing in your room, but I suppose after the way she conducted herself, maybe she was feeling a little contrite.
I mean, unlikely. They were quite noisy last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely strange.
Our room was right next to it. It was noisy.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that you heard that even more.
Yeah, so are we.
It didn't really bother me. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you were.
It seems to fit your disposition. He'll wave his hands around where your horns would be.
Okay, well, thank you for.
Yeah,
Being open with us.
I'm
Mhm.
here if you need additional information.
Yeah.
Thank
if
you.
anything else comes to mind, we'll let you know.
All right, we should probably go back and discuss again.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
Pull
right, and
back.
I think this is a good idea. Let's take a 5-minute bathroom break right now, guys. And we'll be back, and you guys are on your way to solving a mystery.
Yay!
This is where we
Our-
show we're not idiots completely.
Yay!
Hey,
Well,
All right.
I mean,
We
No
act
promises.
Smart.
I am
SMRT.
Marty.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back. Hello, everybody. So as we were discussing off camera a moment ago, I just wanted to take a moment and tell you for Christine, less since I live with you, but I miss all you guys. I miss playing this in person.
Yeah, me too. I
I'm
want to
sorry-
leave my house.
I'm sorry that we don't get to do this in person because I've got some encounters coming up that I really wanted to do in person with you guys. Like I've been working on minis and like, and I know that's beside the point.
I
Yeah.
think it's part of the point.
You should take some really good pictures, though, like still shots.
Yeah.
To post.
Teasers.
Yeah. Oh God, you're season 3 though. I'm looking at him right now. Don't look where I'm looking when you come in the room, Christine.
I know the minis you bought and painted.
Don't talk about him, okay? Wink. All
I'm
right.
going to.
So it's the giant Gendo Ikari standee.
Oh no, we're screwed.
Generic, get in the damn robot.
But we don't want to. I'm afraid.
Welcome to this being a mecha anime. All right, welcome back to Dork Tales.
That'll be in the OVA.
In the OVA. Oh God, beach episodes.
Mhm.
All
For
right,
that
so
note, I need to rewatch Helsing. OVA reminded me of that.
oh yeah. Okay. All right, so
Okay.
you head back into Tia and Mars's room and proceed to go back over the evidence.
So, who do we want to talk to next, I guess?
Well, I guess it's either him or her. I'm leaning towards him.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Like, I still feel like she probably had something to do with this.
Yeah.
She did
Now,
seem
I don't
to
know
a
if
lot.
it's just.
But I really don't
Me.
know because he could just be framing her. Or she could be
Could there be
framing
a thing
him,
that
who
they're
knows?
all kind of in on it? Like the same plan?
They could be, or they could both be using each other.
Kind of selling each other out?
Because didn't you say you thought there was something off about her? Like maybe she used a disguise
Mm-hmm.
and the drink, and now Umir's saying he saw her in a headscarf. I don't
Well, yeah,
remember.
like,
It seems she's
um,
hiding something.
Yeah, because when we were drinking, she ordered something that she honestly couldn't really handle super well, and I can agree it was terrible. But only elves would be able to drink it, and Xeno was able to and have no problem. I don't know if there's something between being like only part elf.
Well, I mean, I'm half elf, and I
Yeah,
had no
so you were
issue with
fine.
it. So,
And she's
whereas we
supposed to
saw
be a
how the
full
human
elf.
responded.
Mm-hmm. So, and then when I was looking at her face, it looked like she had some fine details here. So that's starting to be a little weird.
That perhaps she's not actually an elf. Or
So
not who she
do-
says she is?
Do we want to discuss with her next?
I
I
Excuse
kind of
me.
feel like we should maybe save her for last.
Yeah.
So you want to see?
I
See what
think
Joffrey
she's
has
the
to say?
Easier one.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Joffrey it is?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, sounds good.
Jeffrey.
Is it Jeffrey or Joffrey?
Jeffrey.
How do you spell it? I have like 4 different spellings in my book so far.
Like
Mhm.
Joffrey. Joffery.
Oh, so like Joffrey from Game of Thrones, just with
No, he had
one
2
less
Fs.
F.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still go with
Joffrey.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Probably how it's.
I spelled it like
Joffrey-
Jeffrey.
Joffrey
E.
Westcott.
Joe Furry.
That's
It's
Joe Fury.
Yes.
Yep. Joe Exotic Westcott.
Ooh.
I need your vibrating
Whoa now.
thing.
You need my percussive massager.
Yes, that thing.
Can I show what this thing looks like? This thing
God.
looks like a ridiculous. It's a whole. It's a lethal weapon. I swear.
Show your vibrator on camera, Amy. It's great. Oh wow, that's some
the
heavy
bullet.
hardware.
Yeah, that's the
That's
bullet
that's
point.
the bullet one. Oh,
It's got a bullet.
you know that bullets are things, right?
Oh, I know.
Okay. Okay.
But here's the one for your spine.
Yeah, I see a lot of chiropractors use them, and it looks like it
I
relieves
need
a lot
that
of
because
pressure.
I have not seen my chiropractor in 2 months,
Yeah. Me neither.
which is why I'm constantly doing this on stream and like.
And I've been sitting here going like,
Cracking
gotta
my
get
head
that
around.
one piece of my shoulder right here that is not happy with me. Can I turn my head properly, fully? Nope. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just
I
force
feel like
it.
I have some full-on like Cardassian shoulders going on, so I can't move.
Why? Because you got Botoxed in the shoulders?
Those are the
man.
Kardashians.
Oh, Kardashian.
Cardassian, yeah.
I don't know. I'm always keeping up with both of them.
That's
Oh, good.
What's the purpose of your travel? Just tourism? Occupation? No, not this time. Just tourism. Sorry, Cardassian joke. You wouldn't get it,
oh,
but the Bajorans will get it. Anyway.
Damn it.
All right, so back into this. You step into the hallway. And step across the hall to Jeffrey's room.
Mm-hmm.
You rap on the door, and a moment later, Jeffrey opens the door looking quite worse for wear.
Uh-oh.
He's slightly pale, a bit of a green tinge to his skin that speaks of a night of drinking and exhaustive exercise.
He's looking a
Like you
bit
had
peaky.
fun.
Hello?
Hey.
You have a moment? We'd like to talk to you.
Yeah, I could... Please come in. He opens the door, and it's the mirror of Mars and Tia's room. 2 beds flank either side, both of which look completely disheveled. There are several bottles of wine laying around on the ground, and just tons of debris and various blankets. Just the room looks like it's been rolled, much like his former master's room, although in a different way. The room stinks of sweat and sex and spilled wine that permeates the carpet.
Can I just look around, like perception, see if anything looks really out of place or weird or.
You can make me a perception roll.
Yeah. Also.
You may.
Nat 20.
Oof.
So that ends up being 29 for me.
Nice. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm less ridiculous with a 17.
Okay. Looking around, I'll start with Tia. So Tia, as you look around, you will see that there is quite a. You actually will see an outfit that's been discarded on the floor that looks like what the last thing you saw him in was. It is ripped up the front, the buttons completely demolished. His collar is covered with smeared lipstick and makeup.
Wow.
And as he is looking around and perching himself on the edge of the bed, you'll see that the entire right side, honestly, his throat and exposed chest from where his shirt doesn't button look like he lost a fight with an octopus. Malia, you don't notice that. You're closer to the ground than Tia. And that's why you notice that amidst all of the debris from carnal lovemaking, you see something that you didn't expect to see.
Oh.
Laying next to a bottle of wine, wrapped in a bit of discarded sweat-soiled sheet, jammed beneath the bed he's not sitting on.
Mm-hmm.
As you approach, it's something, it looks fleshy. Do you pick it up?
It doesn't look like a condom, correct?
It does not, no.
Okay, I will pick it up then.
That would have been just nasty.
It's an ear. Long and pointed.
Well, I think this confirms Mars's theory.
It looks like a prosthetic or a cost disguise piece.
Oh, yeah.
I will look at Jeffrey and... So, anything weird about your partner last night? Looks like she lost an ear.
Oh, Jesus. Or, no, wait. Oh, who does he care about? Oh, Gren. What the? Is that an ear?
Certainly looks like one.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeezy peasy.
So, do you know what happened last night? Have you been notified yet?
Yeah, do
You
you
seem
know?
awfully hungover and drunk.
I was informed this morning. Yes.
Okay. And so I'm sure you've guessed what we're trying to find out about. Did you
Yes.
spend the entire evening in here with your
yes.
lady friend?
Yes, I did.
Was she here when you woke up?
No.
Okay.
No, I woke up to the sound of someone screaming outside.
Okay.
So the woman who found the body, the attendant.
I suppose... What can you tell us about why somebody might have? Anything you noticed before coming back to your room?
It's been quite a long voyage. A few days ago, Umir Bell tried to pay me to betray my master.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a more loyal servant than that.
Does he pay you well? Did he pay you well? To inspire that sort of loyalty? I mean, 300 gold looked like an awful lot.
There are things more important than gold.
So, blackmail. Mally is just bluntly delivering this, trying to see
Good
what
girl.
reaction she gets.
She got it.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and make me a persuasion roll?
Okay. Unnatural 20.
He doesn't twitch. Oh, sorry. Actually, this would be an insight roll for you. So switch your scores up. What am I doing?
So that actually ends up
Being much higher.
27.
27. Okay. Good.
Insight's a 9.
Then you will actually see his mouth twitches slightly when you say that. No, it's... I learn much from him. I've learned the trade of a successful merchant. And when I am released from my contract, I will be able to find work anywhere.
Malia will give him a look that very clearly says bullshit.
Can I intimidate him?
No.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Just remember that if we intimidate, it'll be hard. We can't persuade after.
Yeah,
it.
but
Well-
it's like Kelly was saying earlier. We can do like the good cop, bad cop. So if
Yeah.
Malia's the good cop, I'll be the bad cop.
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
We've never practiced this.
And plus, like, my intimidation isn't too shabby. It puts me at 23.
Okay, how are you going about this?
So I'm gonna be like, okay, look, we already know what we're looking for. You can either fess up now, or we can do this the hard way.
23?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 22 does not beat 23.
You did pretty well, though.
Dang!
You might as well spill. Someone else has already spilled.
Nice. I like that. That's how you do it, to be honest.
Right.
I don't know much. Umir Bell tried to pay me off. I have always found that being directly honest with Master Van Ness is the safest way to conduct any form of business. I'll happily answer your questions if it leads to the man or woman, the person who committed this crime, being caught. But I don't know what to tell you.
Does him being dead release any of your blackmail? Whatever he had that kept you here. Certainly didn't seem like a pleasant position. We all heard him yelling at you that first day.
Mm-hmm.
If I play my cards right, yes. Which means that I'm probably incriminated as well.
Not necessarily. I am a cleric of Vela. Zone of truth is well within my abilities.
There are a
If
lot
you
of ways
speak a
around.
deliberate lie or admit something, I will know if I cast that.
Well, that's not the way that works, but
Yeah, it is.
there are ways around spells like that. But
There are, but they're difficult.
And you're talking
And
to
they
a
tend to
cleric
leave
of
hints.
Vela. She knows more than you might.
more than I might.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think me to be some uneducated country rube, my lady. I am...
I don't think anyone thinks that, considering you wouldn't have survived long as Van Ness's assistant if you were.
Valley is
Not-
going to nudge Tia to shut up.
Mhm.
Let him finish talking and incriminating himself.
Fine.
She'll whisper very quietly in your ear.
No idea why the captain tasked this particular party with justice, given the extracurricular activities of some of you. He'll cast a very pointed glance at Mars.
Well, we know about Mars. We also know that you have shitty handwriting, apparently, or can't label stuff properly.
If you have questions, I am happy to cooperate.
All right. Did you kill?
No.
Okay. Did you know he was taking
Yes.
poisons? Did you deliberately mislabel one?
No.
Did you accidentally mislabel them?
I would have no way of knowing that.
But did you label his poisons for him? Did you
I
bottle
handle all of the bottling and all of the deliverables and dosage amounts that go out for the past 2 years have been my hand.
So out of 2 years, this is the first time you've ever made a mistake?
If I've made other mistakes, no one's lived to complain. It's a self-correcting error.
Can you tell us anything about the lady you had fun with last night?
She's
Did
apparently a leper.
Did she seem overly intense on coming on to you? Did you approach her?
She approached me. I am. I'm not an unattractive man. I've been known to find pleasurable company on my own.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Did she force you to drink excessively? One drink after another after another?
We played several drinking games, yes.
Did you at one point want to stop, but she kept on wanting to play, like egging you on, like, oh, come on, come on?
She's a very forceful person, yes.
Where did you get a bangle or an earring for your room key?
I have a bangle, and he'll hold up his hand. And... Make me an insight roll.
Amy, you're cute.
I'm probably wrong. I don't know. I'm rolling it. I'm guessing. Insight, it's going to be 11.
11?
11.
You want to spend an inspiration?
I think I spent it already.
You did already spend one. Would anyone like to spend it for you? Does anyone want to...
I spent mine.
No? Okay.
I mean, if he arm up and does that, I would love to roll insight as well.
Sure, go ahead.
17.
Cool, that's definitely enough. So Tia, you're going to get the sense of something being off there, but Malia, you're going to definitely get it when he does exactly what I just did. He raises his right arm reflexively and says, "Yes, I," and then raises his left and shows the bangle. With a slight furrow to his brow that he quickly unfurrows into a straight expression.
So your bangle's on your wrong arm, huh?
No, I'm just a little hungover and raised the wrong arm. I'm still a little drunk. If you pardon my rudeness, part of the belligerence is caused by drink, and I mean no disrespect. I'm afraid we got off on the wrong foot.
Perception.
Okay, it's so this is insight.
Insight
probably.
again?
If it's about his behavior, yes.
Yeah. 24.
24 beats 17. He's trying to shift the conversation. He's trying to restart it and take control of it.
Yeah, but you obviously looked for the bangle on the other arm first. Meaning that's probably where you had it most of the time.
Maybe
you
I
weren't
think
expecting it to be on the other arm.
I think I shift it sometimes when I take a shower or bathe.
Really?
I don't want it to. I don't think it really matters, does it?
Unless somebody took it off of you and used it and then put it back.
Mm-hmm.
Was your partner still here when you woke up, or was she already gone?
No,
Yours already gone.
She was already gone?
Yes.
Were you still awake when she left?
No, I fell into a deep slumber after our sixth encounter.
do you have any idea around what time it was? Probably not, but...
I would say, given my voracious companion and my stalwart constitution, it could have been several hours into the night.
So into the early morning.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kelly.
Yes, Zeno.
Can I do a check to see if I remember how long they were making sound for?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Make me an investigation roll. What'd you get?
Ave.
Interrupting your beauty sleep.
10.
10?
10.
Could have been a 2.
I mean, it was like pretty.
was pretty late. It was definitely before the boat stopped, though. Is when they stopped before the boat did.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know.
You remember that? You're like, you eventually got some sleep.
Hmm.
Did she ever? Did she seem to know anything about your boss?
We didn't discuss it. She said she was very drawn to my eyes.
Huh.
Did she seem to drink as much as you?
Yeah. That.
Yeah,
As
I mean,
in,
not-
was she more in control of herself by the end of it than you?
She was winning more of the drinking games, but she drank quite a bit.
Okay.
What were you drinking? Is there any still here? Can I take a look?
Sure, it's the bottles on the floor.
Okay. Should go take a look at it.
So looking through the bottles on the floor, they're very clearly labeled. They are... there are a couple of bottles of... it's mostly... it's mostly Gold Goat mead. And several bottles of Paragallis wine. But mostly the mead.
Okay. Nothing weird there, I guess. I mean, I'm not really one good for... Yeah.
Actually, make me an investigation roll.
Okay. Not expecting this to be great, but I'll give it a shot. That was a 4 sound.
4 sound? Okay. So looking around, you'll see that there are a number of bottles of this laying around. Honestly, there's about 5 or 6 bottles that you'll find strewn around the room. A significant amount of alcohol was drank. Some of it's still in the bottles, actually. Some of the bottles were only half drank. But you will see that there are a pair of glasses on the end table that survived all of the night's encounters. One has a smudge of lipstick on it. The other one, or of lip paint. The other one doesn't. Well, it has some, not as much.
Fair.
Not in the right shape, anyway.
I mean, hey Mars, can you take a look at these? I'm not really sure what I'm looking for here, but something might...
You can make me investigation or perception.
Can she make it with advantage because I'm pointing things out to her? Probably not.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'll allow it this time. Yeah.
Oh, that's much better because the first time I rolled was a 3 and then the second was a 19.
Checking the glasses, you can see that there's a sticky bit of the honey of the mead has congealed a tiny bit over the night in the heat, and in what you would guess is probably his glass, it's a little sludgy at the bottom and moves around a bit syrupy. There's not much left in her glass, but as you pick it up, you will find... Was this perception or investigation?
Perception.
You will give it a quick sniff, and you will smell the faint but distinct scent of charcoal.
Charcoal?
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, that's gross.
What'd you find?
Mars, actually, anybody, if you say it out loud, can make me a medicine roll.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely not. I have -1 in medicine.
Okay.
How's a unnatural 20 sound to you?
It sounds good.
26.
All right, so both of you, do you mention it smells like charcoal?
Yeah, I think that sounds gross.
Charcoal. Activated charcoal can be used to absorb toxins.
Like
Poison.
alcohol.
Including alcohol. Alcohol is a poison. So if you imbibe charcoal at the same time you imbibe alcohol, it can bond to the... you have to do it basically at the same time, because once it's in your blood, You're done. But you can take activated charcoal to lessen the effects of alcohol.
Is that actually for real?
It's theorized. Actually, I just listened to a podcast that confirmed that is potentially possible today. It ruins the flavor of the alcohol.
Oh yeah, I was gonna be like, that sounds nasty because I imagine when you use activated charcoal for like teeth brushing and people are like, bleh.
Actually, hospitals will administer activated charcoal if you have certain types of toxin poisoning because it draws out of your stomach lining and things like that.
Crazy.
But they do highly recommend that you do not self-medicate with it.
Yeah, no, don't.
As it can also ruin your gut microbiome.
Yeah.
Yep.
100% screw up a lot of stuff. Don't do it.
Sounds
do it.
gross.
Yeah,
Don't try this at home.
Do not try this at home. This
This is a fantasy situation.
Yeah, this is a special kind of charcoal that doesn't exist on Earth. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Space charcoal.
Space charcoal.
Used for fantasy assassins.
It's elf
Not
charcoal.
get drunk.
So, which glass was this in, just to check?
This is on her glass.
Hers.
Yeah. So that's
Oh, okay.
And usually,
Interesting.
if it was a powder, she could have easily slipped that in when she was pouring the drink. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, if she's...
Could have had a packet in her pocket, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It could have even been condensed down to a pellet.
Okay, so she wasn't...
Nearly
So
as
she
drunk,
was-
probably.
Mm-mm.
She was probably a bit drunk, but not nearly as drunk. She was probably like three or four glasses of wine in rather than a bottle.
Yeah. Okay. So she was well within her faculties then, probably, to go and do something
Murdering someone?
passed out.
yeah.
Are you actually discussing this with him?
No, I mean, she said, like, she's gonna be, like, well within her faculties to, like, get herself to a room. Or,
I
you know.
don't know. I fell asleep.
Alright.
Interesting.
So you
You
fell
don't-
asleep after the 6th time?
That's what I said.
That's what I remember. 5 or 6, something like that.
Is anything missing from your room?
I think in the state it is, I think it would be difficult for him to tell, honestly.
I think I've lost about a pound or 2.
Are there any more miscellaneous elf parts on the floor, Kelly?
No. You can definitely see that that there is
Oh no.
there are no miscellaneous pieces of elf on the floor.
Okay.
Which
but-
I will tuck that ear in my pocket.
You're not going to put it on?
No.
Does he think that we're talking that it's like her real ear or something, or does he understand that it was a costume?
I don't think he cares.
We haven't clarified.
Yes, I think it's funny that he
He's
thinks it's
still
just
really hungover. I don't think he gives any sort of crap. Alright. Well, if we come up with any more questions, we'll come ask you. But you kind of look like maybe you should go back to bed.
I don't think I can really sleep given the circumstances of the evening, but
Hmm.
I appreciate your concern.
Oh,
Any
we're gonna
problems
go
will
talk to
probably
the
look
one-ear
better with a
elf.
clear head, or at least be
Yeah.
more easily decipherable.
No, best
Honestly,
of
at
luck.
this point, I think anything's possible, so.
True.
Yeah.
Alright, shall we go discuss?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to discuss everything quietly and keep the door open and an eye on the hallway because I don't want him warning her.
Yeah.
All right, so you're heading back to your room to discuss again?
Probably
Yeah.
just across the hall, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a feeling that it may have been accidental, that the guy was more poisoned than he meant to be, because it sounds like he voluntarily took it.
Yeah.
And then she... sounds like she planned this,
Mhm.
right? Because
Hey, can I see that ear?
I'll flick it to him.
Is
It's
it?
longer. It's longer than yours.
It's longer than mine. Okay.
It's the length of a full half elf, or probably a full elf, not a full half elf. 2 half elves.
Hmm.
Math.
Math elves.
Math
Because
elves.
from the way he
What
acted,
kind of adhesive? How did she attach the ear on? Are there any traces of that?
There's a little bit of a sticky gummy thing on the inside.
Mhm.
Anyone who is proficient in deception,
Me.
you'll know it automatically just looking at it. It looks like some type of spirit gum adhesive.
Mhm.
Pretty standard in mummers and play and actors.
Easy to come across.
Easy.
Yeah.
Basically, they make it with a bit of horse hoof and some other epoxies, and it just peels off the skin really well. It does pretty well until excessive sweat and pressure is put on it. It's fine. So basically, it'll stick on your face so long as you don't sweat too much or touch it.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately, those two things together, right off.
Yep,
Yeah.
there goes. Pop.
Explains why she might have been wearing a headscarf.
lost her
Yeah.
ear and couldn't get it back.
Yeah.
But
Whee!
it seems like she probably took his bangle to get in.
Though,
And
did he have access to his?
I imagine he would.
I believe it
It would've
was
made
brought
sense,
up earlier when we started this arc that he did have access to the room.
Mars is 100% right. Actually, you remember, Tia remembers specifically, I think Mars was as well, that he was the one that was having the sarcophagus loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he did have access. Okay. So
And I'm guessing she was on here for the purpose to do this, or I'm guessing it wasn't by chance that she took the opportunity when it was presented. This seems planned.
And then she tried to
Yeah.
return it and then put on the wrong wrist.
I mean, at that point, it
And
probably didn't matter
It
to
was
her.
just her lucky day that he was already poisoned enough that anything she did was
Mm-hmm.
secondary. I mean,
Yep.
she didn't kill him, he killed himself, it sounds like.
Or made it easier for someone to stab him.
No, he was basically dead when she stabbed him.
Yeah.
The
that's
blood
what
was pooling
But then
already.
why continue on? If he was already dead, why stab the
wasn't
dude?
fully dead yet. And who knows, she may not have checked, she may not just have thought he was asleep and
That's
easy
true.
to kill, right?
yeah,
She had no way
yeah.
of knowing, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I can just tell what?
Just a reminder, all of you have dark vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
she's not an elf, she doesn't.
Right.
So she wouldn't have been able to see.
If she was creeping up on someone in the dark,
Yeah. And
just
I
I'm
doubt
gonna give
she
you that
would
one
have
for free.
stopped. If she thought he was asleep, she's not going to stop and try and feel for a pulse, right?
No.
She's just
that's
gonna
just
stab
go
you,
for
stab.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Zeno makes
So-
stabbing motion with the ear in his hand. Stab, stab,
I
stab.
mean, in the end, depending on what we learned from her, there's a good chance that all she did was stab a dead body. It's not really a crime.
Yeah.
She intended to commit murder, she didn't.
Well, I mean, she did break into his room. And that's a crime.
So
She
unless she
had
stole something.
the access to the room.
Well, should we go talk to her?
I mean, right now, so far, the only
Yeah.
thing I can really, and if she, other than
Let's
potentially having,
try to not give anything away as much as we can when we talk to her. Try and make her incriminate herself and just keep talking. If
yeah.
she
You want me
keeps
to be
talking, she'll
quiet?
give more away. We tell her we know stuff, then
she might stop.
yeah. Or she won't tell us more. Right? Because we've already assumed what we know.
So should we go in with a bit more of a plan then? Like a script?
Well, do we have any specific questions that we want to ask her to try and?
I think if we just follow the same sort of thing we've already been doing of questioning what she was doing, where she was, what she was going
Mhm.
on, and see how much we can persuade out of her. And also,
What
if we
she
just let her
sees in
keep
Jeffrey.
talking, people are more
If
likely
she
to
sees
just
in Jeffrey.
give stuff
Yeah.
away
Mm.
if they don't know what you know.
That's
True.
true.
Zeno will tuck the ear into his pocket. That's for later.
I wonder if she knows that she's lost an ear.
Oh,
that's
she
probably why
knows she's lost
wearing
an
a
ear.
Because I wonder if
Yeah.
she'd be freaking out about that. all.
Probably. She'll be probably pretty nervous. Let's see if she's wearing a headscarf when we go in.
Probably.
all right.
Maybe you can accidentally knock it loose somehow.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man, I could turn. Hey guys, I have a brilliant idea. This is a terrible idea. I don't actually suggest it. But I could turn into a bird and fly in, and get caught in her hair.
Oh, let me just open the window. It's very.
Or Mars could just go up to feel it and be like, "Oh, this is lovely fabric." Get it caught on the bracelet and pull.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe some ways to not right away, but
Okay. Yeah. How about this?
I was joking about the bird thing. I'm not turning into a bird right now.
Okay. How about this? So that I don't mess something up for you guys.
Just don't tell her what we already know.
Yeah. Give me a sign that you need shit to go down, and I'll do that. How about that? That's how I'll participate.
I'll wink at you.
Meanwhile, a little bit of sand gets in your eye, and you're like,
No, I would just. Mally is not very refined.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're just like,
otherwise,
I'm really serious. I better double wink.
I was thinking that.
I just don't want to make her flighty, because I like to intimidate people more. So I'm gonna try not to ruin this next encounter, because this is the last one too. And if anything, if it was an accident but not an accident, we have the full story that we can give to the captain.
I think 7 stabs in a row is not an accident.
No,
And
she
he ran
accidentally
it.
fell on him 7 times.
And he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 7 times.
He had it coming.
He had
He
it
had
coming.
it coming.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, enough Chicago.
In
That's
any
gonna be
case.
stuck in my head all night now.
You're welcome.
I had to watch it after this. That song.
Okay, well then.
All right. Let's rock and roll.
Mhm.
A quick
Yeah.
rap on the door, and Immorel Lyodon opens the door. She
Hey.
looks out at you with her large hazel eyes and her dark hair pulled back underneath a pale blue silk scarf that's wrapped around her face and chin. Oh, I was wondering when you'd come by.
Here we are.
How can I help you?
Maybe
Just
come
have
in.
a couple questions.
The same questions everybody else.
Sure, please come in. The room's a mess. I apologize.
Not at
No
all.
worries.
The room is decidedly not a mess. It's tidy and lived in, but it's nowhere near as clean as Umir Bell's, but it is tidy enough. One of the beds has been used by itself. The other one is still as pristinely made, aside from a crease of a suitcase that had been laid on it at some point in days previous. There is a large bottle of water on the bedside table and a glass that she was recently drinking out of. And you could see that she was looks like she was reading a book of some kind that's on her nightstand. It's a book of elvish poetry.
Question.
Is it?
Is it in Elven or some another language?
It's an elven. It's an elvish.
Cool.
Is it a well-known one?
Make me a history roll.
Can I also make that roll?
Do you speak elvish?
That's a good
Hey
question.
Kelly,
Yeah.
can I make that with advantage because grew up with big elven library?
I'll allow it.
That's gonna be a 19.
All right, so it is.
The suspicion I don't speak Elvish, and I really should.
I don't think you do.
I don't think I do. I really should, though. I should learn.
So it is the Epic of Kilvorus. Kilvorus being an elvish knight who traveled around, basically reinforcing the power of the elven nations and bringing about an end to conflict when they were at war several hundred years ago. It's more of like a Don Quixote type story. It's a slight comedy, but you only really get it if you're elvish. It seems like an action adventure story to everybody else because you don't see the innate satire
Okay, so to a human, it might be it might read more like an action.
Yeah, basically, it's like watching Starship Troopers and not realizing that it's a parody of fascism. It's like, wow, that was really cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's also making fun of a lot of things. Like, humans are very smelly in this book, but the translations into non-Elvish definitely paint humans as just being, burly and smelling like labor.
Yeah.
But that metaphor in Elvish society is basically like smelling like ball sweat.
Ew.
Yuck.
Elves are very subtle with their shade.
So
not being an actual elf, even if she could read Elvish, she probably would have read it as a human or whatever she is.
Most humans wouldn't.
And Xeno will be like, oh, I'm familiar with that one. It's a really good one. There's a lot of really good action in that one, actually.
I'm not a big fan of action, but I do love the way the language is used.
Oh, yeah?
I never had a chance to read these type of stories growing up, so it's good to get caught up on the classics while I have some free time. Plus, the poetics distract me from the horrible ordeal that's happening.
That's fair. Yeah, no, it's a good one.
Does it have a happy ending?
Does it have a happy ending?
It depends on who you ask, kinda. It's like a bittersweet ending with slightly uplifting notes, but
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I look forward to seeing how it ends.
Well,
please, you're welcome to look around if you need to. I'd be happy to answer anything that you'd ask. If I can help any way, I don't... I know that he was a terrible man and he probably deserved what he got, but murder... No one should have to...
Murder?
Molly is going to start poking around then if she said she can look around.
Sure.
She's just going to start wandering around and looking.
Was it made known how the body was found? Like what state it was in? Just that they were dead?
It was not noted how they were murdered.
Or that they were murdered?
It was that they were murdered. That there was she screamed murder.
Okay.
There's been a murder, but not that he was stabbed 7 times or anything like that. Like, that's not been stated.
So was that a staff member that screamed that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So can I...
anybody who wants to
then?
can make me a perception or investigation roll with advantage because you have some time.
Oh, sweet.
Sweet.
This will be perception for me.
15.
15? Okay.
Yeah.
22. Perception.
22.
We have
22
trees.
perception. Yeah.
I'm investigating, and I'm gonna hope that this advantage you've given us,
So what are you
helps.
searching? Like, the two of you use perception, right?
Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm just glancing around while just chatting with her normally.
Anything
just like
out of place?
Honestly, the room looks fairly pristine. You'll see that the little mirror that is set up over by the door she's used as a vanity. And there are a number of different makeups and lipsticks and perfumes that are out. Quite a few of them.
I know obviously she doesn't have the knife because she left it there in the chest. But I'm wondering if maybe she missed a blood drop. Maybe there's some on her carpet, on a counter. Like she did wash her hands.
What was she wearing the night before?
What she was wearing the night before? Probably a slip of some kind. But looking around, honestly, you think you find a couple of things as you go. You find little streaks of red, but quick touch to it, it's greasy. It's makeup. Looking around, you check the sink. The basin is clean. The little stall for washing that is in every one of the basic rooms looks like it's been used fairly recently. And you smell the heady scent of soap inside of there. She's definitely washed, but after a night of heavy drinking, that's the first thing you'd want to do. Xena, what did you get on your investigation roll?
I got 22 on perception.
Okay.
And my main thing is I was looking for like anything to do with like, her persona of trying to pass off as an elf.
The one thing you'll notice is that the headscarf is slightly pulled on the left by an ear. There is a shape underneath on the left side of her head that is asymmetrical.
Okay, and then I have the right ear. Is it the right ear?
It is the right ear.
That I have? Okay.
And I got 20 on
It's-
investigation.
And it's only with that high perception you notice. It's actually very well done, what she's doing, but just not quite good enough. You can see that there should be a slight triangle jutting out the side there. And 21, you said, Tia?
20 total. I
20
rolled
total.
a 19. I only get +1 on investigation.
Investigating around, what you will see is... You'll glance around the room, and the thing that's going to strike you the most interesting is Malia checks the shower stall really quickly, and it's fairly clean. Like I said, there's got residue of a shower in there, and doesn't look like she's done the pretty standard thing of leaving the discarded hair in the drain, not cleaned it out. As you glance in, you'll both look down and notice that there's something a little off. The hair in the drain is blonde.
Wait, what
And
color was her hair?
She's a brunette.
Ooh.
She has
Oh.
long, slightly curly brown hair.
So Tia's gonna turn to Mally and kind of mumble, "Wig."
Did anybody else have longish blonde hair?
Actually,
And this is long, right?
It's about that long, maybe.
Okay.
The
so
hair
quite
strands are longer than none of the guys that are staying in these quarters have blonde hair. This hair is about the length of, say, like a bowl cut.
short. Okay, so she's
So
got it
very
short to go under a
easy.
wig.
Yeah. If it's her hair's not. If her hair was wet and she's wearing a scarf, it would probably be showing that, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, wig. She's wearing a wig. Pretty sure.
And as you're looking around, Tia, you're going to notice this as well, that... Actually, you'll all notice it with perception. Tia, you'll notice that the makeup brushes that are out have been used very recently. And Zeno, Malia, and Mars are all going to notice that she looks tired, but very lovely. And actually, Mars, the crow's feet that you were noticing on her inner eyes are much better today. Her skin looks flawless. Her lips are painted on perfectly. She definitely has done her makeup for this interview.
So, can you just walk us through what happened last night up until, well, the body was found?
Yes, of course. If I may be scant on some of the more distressing details in the morning, but I. 2 nights ago, I unsuccessfully attempted to flirt with Umir Bell. I do like tall men, and he is quite tall and quite dark. And to be honest, I'd never sampled his vintage. So, unfortunately, he turned me down, which I'm not used to. I dare say that it hurt quite a bit. So I took my troubles to the bar, and got to drinking, and I bumped into Jeffrey, and he just had the most brilliant blue eyes. And I got to talking to him, and it was was very apparent very quickly that, unlike other men, he was quite interested. So I thought I should balance the scales and reward him for his dutiful appreciation. We retired to his compartment. We drank and laughed and played and loved throughout the night. But I went a little too far, and I hadn't realized quite how young he was. He's in his early 20s. That's great. I felt a little guilty. So when I woke up and saw what had happened, I came back here, took a shower, and I was actually in the middle of my shower when I heard that his master had been killed.
Question, out of character.
Yeah.
How long has it been since then?
Probably about 3 hours.
Okay.
Her hair looks dryish. Her hair, well, you can only see a tiny bit of it sticking out, but it looks dry.
Yeah. Interesting.
But I mean, I don't think it's a crime to make a bad decision. He is of majority, and I hear that many young men fancy older women. Maybe not this old, but
Well, you're not that old, are you?
I'm 317, but fairly.
So
you're still fairly young.
Thank you for saying so. I've got a splash of human from my grandfather, so I'm aging a bit more rapidly than some other family members. I'm quite. She'll wave her hand at her general complexion. I'm actually quite sensitive about it. I've started to get wrinkles. Thank you.
So, if you were in his cabin, did you hear anything at all from the other one? It butts up against it.
To be honest,
anything out of the ordinary that you might have noticed?
I heard some stomping around, and I think it sounded like there was some yelling in there at one point. It sounded like the Umir.
Mm-hmm.
what can you tell us about it? Did you hear anything that was said, or?
No, I heard tones, but then I heard the Umir leave a few minutes later. It sounded like there was a bit of a tussle. Jeffrey wanted to go inspect, and I should have let him. I realize that now, but I was distracting him, and so we were enjoying ourselves, and I convinced him that he should be able to have a few moments of pleasure and peace. Besides, we heard his master stomping around a few moments later, so it was fine. Apparently not. God, it's all my fault, isn't it? If I had just not distracted him, he could have been there for him.
I mean, no, she was the one who told us he was the scorpion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize you were so close to Joffrey from the way you were talking.
I don't want to see anyone get murdered. I want to see a man like that should serve his time in a prison cell, or if he's to be killed, it should be on an executioner's block.
Yes, but how likely would that ever happen, really?
Well, we forged the path of our own destiny with sweat and blood and ill intent. Zeno, make me a history roll. Or an insight roll. Make me an insight roll.
Insight, that's gonna be a solid 17.
She's quoting the end of the book.
That she said she hadn't finished.
Yep. Yep, she messed up her roll.
Oh. Like that's like, is that like right at the end?
That's one of the final lines of the book. It's the big thing of like, oh, I've made my bed and I have to lie in it is kind of how the book ends.
Now, here's a question. Now, how common is that quote? Is it because, you know,
not that translation of it.
Not that translation. Okay.
So what was the quote again?
Well, and if it's a relatively well-known, at least Elvish book, what's the bet that a play's been made of it? She's playing as an actress.
That's true.
It's roughly what she said is we forged the path of our destiny with flesh and blood and good intentions.
So she probably screwed herself up by training to be an actress for this role. Or actually being an actress, who knows. And then lying to Zeno. What does she benefit by saying that she's never read the book? Sort of thing, right? This is all stuff that Zeno could think about.
Yeah, well, I'm...
Malia's voice in your subconscious.
Why would you bother lying about that?
Yeah.
Just a book.
You can make me an insight roll, and I'll give you a suggestion.
That's gonna be a 6.
You still
You
have
have
I
inspiration.
have inspiration.
Go ahead.
Please.
That is going to be a 19.
Better.
Little bit better.
Because let me just put it this way: if I were trying to argue Japanese philosophy with someone from Japan, I probably wouldn't dive in if I could say that I hadn't finished reading the damn book. Someone who was raised in a culture that I'm trying to appropriate, I probably wouldn't want to get into an in-depth conversation about themes that I could get trapped up on based on linguistic nuance if I were smart.
So
But then she screwed herself there.
She screwed herself up because she's an actress, and actors have big heads.
all right, so you said that was one of the final lines of the book?
Basically, the final lines of the protagonist.
Okay. So after hearing that, Zeno is going to basically either say like the line before or the line after, depending how quickly after to the end of the book it is.
The response line sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, like the response line to it, like, oh.
And so he laid in state and shall again and again and again until the dawn breaks over the new horizon. Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was just finishing the line. You were quoting the book, right?
Is that what that's from? Oh, my acting instructor.
Insight.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Well, but before you do that insight, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, you know, it's from the beginning of the book. Like it's one of the big things at the beginning of the book.
I don't remember it from the beginning of the book. Okay, so insight roll.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we all?
You may, yes.
I'm just gonna sit here and watch the fun.
27.
For 20.
I have a +9 to this.
I have a +11, and I still failed.
Jesus Christ, really?
Oh, Vela.
How'd you have +11 on that?
Because she has expertise.
What's that mean?
I mean, she probably gets like +4.
She doubles her proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
How do you get that?
Expertise.
Yeah, you be a rogue or a bard or or you take a feat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogues get it for free.
Yeah. Hey guys.
I picked
It's how I
11
get
as-
my like 30s.
Yeah. So if she has a +3 times 2 and she has a charisma +4, it's a +10. So so as she the rest of you hear my acting teacher actually used to quote that line all the time. My acting teacher used to say that all the time is what Malia hears. Is it from the beginning of the book? Really, I don't remember that. And she'll head over and start flipping through, turning her back to you. The back of her head clearly visible.
With all of her lack of ear.
Well,
I will wink clearly at Mars.
Mars, do you want to give me a sleight of hand roll?
I've been waiting for this moment all my life.
And then I've been waiting for the moment right after this one.
Where you get to pull the
Okay.
ring out.
He's gonna lounge in the
Wow,
door.
you look like you missed something.
So I rolled a 16. My
That's
sleight
all.
of hand is 10, and then I'm also proficient. So
Are you hoping to take just the scarf?
Let's just see what happens.
Well, do you want the scarf or do you want to grab the hair too?
Oh,
Oh, you said that a piece of her hair was already sticking out, right?
Oh yeah, you can grab the hair through the scarf.
But was it a blonde hair?
No, brunette.
No? Yeah, then I'm gonna go for the hair too.
All right, as she turns around to grab the book, you wink at Mars, who takes the perfect opportunity, steps forward, and plucks the scarf with one hand and the back of her hair with the other, which comes away from the scalp. Underneath, you can see that she has straw-colored short hair that is plastered, freshly washed to the base of, or to the back of her head. From water not drying underneath the wig and from sweat. It's clinging to her scalp. You pull them both and she will turn and look at you, one ear.
And as
Human.
as she looks, and she turns around and looks, I'm gonna pull out the other ear and be like, what part of your elven heritage gave you such amazing ears? And where do I get them?
Maybe she's born with it.
Maybe
it's Mabel's. Maybe it's Mabel's trickery box. And she'll reach up and peel the other ear off.
Owie.
It comes away with bits of glue strands connecting like spider web between her ear and the false.
And I've worn enough like fake ears to know that if you have like any hair right here, that's gonna be
Oh, yeah.
waxed.
She takes it and limply tosses it onto the table.
So,
I think you forgot that in Jeffrey's room.
There's no crime for pretending to be someone better than you are.
That's
nothing
true,
that great
but right
about
now
being
it's
an
awfully
elf.
suspicious.
shrug. Yeah, that too.
There is a lot of great things about being an elf.
Well, and stabbing somebody like 40 times. Also,
Is a negative thing.
yeah.
I think that's worth an intimidation roll.
Okay.
Can I help?
Can I assist with that? Because
I
Please.
think you're going to give her advantage. So who's going to? I think that you guys all together.
yeah, because I rolled.
Thank God for that advantage.
What'd you
Yeah.
get?
Well, I would have had a 1 if I hadn't had advantage. As is, I rolled a nat 20. But I don't get that because I have a -2 to it.
Oh, darn.
No, you get the nat 20.
You
It's a
get
nat
the
20.
I do?
Yeah,
It's a nat 20. I'm going to count it.
because that's too perfect having a 1 and a 20.
Yeah.
Like,
like,
I was
that's
just like,
it would be a heckin' shame.
and then, well, because the one finished rolling first. I was like, please
Okay.
no.
All right. So
No.
you say. There's something suspicious about stabbing him that many times. Zeno says.
Well, I specifically said like a ridiculous amount of times that maybe she'll kind of get a little offended of, I didn't do that many, sort of thing, right?
Yeah, like you're trying to like pull her out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I said I can't remember what I just said, but it went in with that.
She looks at you with wide eyes for a moment. Yeah, and he should have been stabbed 1,000 more times. The bastard had it coming. Look, I don't care what you think, okay? He's a monster. He's a damn monster and he deserves everything he got. Yeah, I stabbed him. I would have stabbed him 1,000 times more if I'd had the time, but I didn't.
Why not? What happened?
The boat stopped. So I got the hell out of there.
I see.
Came back in here and washed the rest of the blood off.
Zeno will pull the ring out of his other pocket. You already washed, though.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of blood on the rest of me.
I guess you had to wash the blood off the bracelet before you gave it back to Joffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Or did you get into his room a different way?
That was pretty much it.
Yeah, we found the charcoal, so guessed how you did it.
Yeah.
Ingenious.
Very well thought out.
Yeah.
Give you that. Very well
You
thought
just need
out.
to pay attention to little details because you put it back on the wrong arm, and he was very confused when he looked for it the first time.
And you
So
left
us
your
off
ear.
there.
And you left your ring there.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to look for the ear, unfortunately. Alright, you caught me.
So
Well-
was he... Oh,
So, why'd you do it? Tell us the reason. We're generally all for taking down terrible people.
Yeah.
Because
I can, yeah, definitely confirm.
I grew up in a town halfway across the world called Port Echidna, in this place called Grey Neighbor. A slummy area. There was a tenement building me and my family and a bunch of other people lived in. He was traveling through, and some of the nobles wanted to redevelop our area, so he poisoned our well, killed my parents. All the kids that survived, that did survive, he took. He got a commission for selling them into slavery. I was sold to a traveling troubadour troupe. I was 4. I got a good memory. That was 38 years ago. I look pretty good at 42, but I didn't know if he'd recognize my face, so I thought an elf would be a good way to throw off the scent.
Well, you made a mighty attractive elf.
Thank you.
So, what do we want to do about this?
That's.
Well, I suppose we need to speak with the captain.
Yeah, report to the captain, and it's up to her.
All right. So do
Does
you
she
go
say
contact the
anything
captain?
at all? I'm not going to let her out of my sight
I'll
Do
go.
what
I'll go fetch the captain.
because my thought is that she'll try and suicide potentially,
Do-
since she got caught. Depending on
do
what
what
the
you-
punishment could be.
Do what you want, but when anybody asks who took him down, you tell them it was Imogen Gentry.
Do you know what the punishment is? Here, not from around here, so.
I probably have to walk the dunes.
I mean,
But you know
they
what?
did say that violation of the rules would be immediate termination of ticket and board.
Yeah.
So
You know what? Hey, that's fine. Wherever I'm going, I've got smiling faces waiting for me.
Well, I'm gonna go grab the captain.
All right.
Cool.
So, heading out, you will easily grab the captain, and a moment later, you'll return. Just one moment, please. You guys did really well. Congrats.
Yay!
So I'm torn now between allowing her to claim the kill
And pointing out he
or
might have
saying
already
that
been dead.
he was already dead.
I think we should say he was already dead.
I mean, Tia's gonna actually like lean over to Mally and go like, "Should we mend? Like, we don't know if she actually killed him."
Yeah. Mally's just gonna kind of weigh it for a minute and
Because honestly, the way it's
wonder if
looking,
maybe
you guys,
explaining to her that his own stupidity did him in might be even more satisfying.
but if you go and
Yeah.
tell the captain right now, she's gonna think that
Well,
she
no,
went in
Well,
with the
no, we'll-
intention.
We'll get the captain. Xeno's bringing the captain back too, and then we'll discuss our findings with the captain and with
Do we want to
So
cast
what's
Zone
it
of
and then it
Truth?
will be up to the captain,
yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll
wanna-
explain to the captain everything that we know,
Mhm.
and then leave it to her.
Do we still want to cast Zone of Truth as a?
I basically have just been threatening people with it of I can
Okay.
do this. Like,
Yeah.
and it seems to open people up pretty quickly.
Fair enough.
I don't think we need to at this point. We already have the truth.
She already
Mhm.
admitted to all four of us.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like what I'm saying is it depends on the captain's character as well. So we're taking some pity on her. But the captain might say that, well, she went in with the intention to kill him anyways. Whether he
That's
was
why.
dead or
I,
not.
We
That's why it's up
can't
to the
not
captain.
tell the captain though,
Yeah.
because
That's why
our reputation is on the line here as
Yeah.
well.
the
No, she
captain.
Lay it all out.
She did intentionally go and do it.
Mhm.
So
All right, let's just.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I
Could've
think
been
we
a
lay it
curse.
out and let the captain make the
Could have
decision.
been.
he could have been
Could've been
stabbed
a
by a
curse.
curse.
It's true.
I don't know. It's up to you guys. A
That's
few
true.
moments later, Xeno will return with the captain. She's flanked by a pair of heavyset dwarven guards armed with those shovel axes. And as they enter, she'll turn and stare into the chamber. Are you waiting for her in this room?
He's probably
I-
in the doorway or in the
I think
hallway.
we would have gone out into the hallway.
Yeah.
All right, which way are we doing this? What did you find? She says, looking up at you.
Well,
All right.
It's-
Well, there's a lot of things going on.
it's a very complicated story.
Uh-huh.
Simplify
what?
it for me.
I'm gonna lay it all out. What I know is the truth. At that point, people have made their decisions, and
Are
now
you
she
going to
needs
try
make
to
hers.
slant it in a certain direction? What's your bias toward?
My bias is a bit sympathetic towards the girl, and that the guy had already killed himself through
Yeah.
sheer stupidity of taking poison, and was an awful piece of crap.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, Tia's just gonna summarize essentially what she found and comment. Yeah, I mean, could have been.
I'm probably not going to bother saying too much about the halfling and Umir because,
Don't need. They
Not
didn't have
particularly
anything.
relevant.
yeah.
Just-
They didn't turn up anything of important. Of
Okay,
importance.
you can make me a
I mean, he
persuasion
still
roll.
has a dagger, though. Come to think of it.
Yeah, which we said we would bring up and ask about. Oh, we were gonna ask about what happens to the possessions of.
Yeah, that's what we were gonna ask. So that was a persuasion roll, Kelly.
It can be a persuasion roll. Who's telling the story? It's Malia, right?
Yeah. So I will just. You know what? No, I'll just lay everything out. I'll be a bit sympathetic towards him and towards the girl for what was going on.
Him being Jeffrey or Bell?
Bell.
Okay.
I mean, Jeffrey didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Really.
He was
Like,
just
he
kind
was
of...
used, and he maybe made a mistake labeling something, but his master should have caught that.
Yeah.
He didn't deliberately try and kill the guy, it seems like, so...
Alright, so the captain gathers all of the suspects into the large royal room. The stench
With
of the
body?
body. Yeah, with the room with the body.
Oh. Cool.
She listens to your story and gathers you all there. The stench is getting quite strong, but... Alright, first things first. You think that you can bring the ship back up and running if you reconsecrate the burial site? The sarcophagus?
That's
Eh?
one of the...
Is she looking
Alright.
at, like, Umir, or at me?
Just looking at you and Dumir.
You indicated prayers.
Yes, a
If
family
that doesn't
prayer.
work, I can remove a curse.
Um,
Provided it's not too strong.
I will do so.
how long will that take?
Hopefully only a few minutes. If I am right. The rules of the ship are that you can't have any weapons of your own. It seems to me that the moment that Deaton Van Ness opened the sarcophagus, he violated the rules of the ship by pulling out that knife.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No one can probably say, because no one saw anyone do anything, whether or not the curse possessed someone to wield the knife, or whether or not it did it by its own volition. But the arsehole drugged himself.
Mm-hmm.
Died.
Yep.
And then bled onto property that he'd been smuggling.
Mm-hmm.
As his apprentice, you'll be handling all of his affairs, getting his goods off the ship, Jeffrey. But I strongly suggest that you return Umir Bell's property to him. Yes, of course. And I strongly suggest that we arrange for an acting tour far away from here. For the actress, Miss Gentry.
Also probably a good idea.
And Grimmin, whatever you found in your study or in your case is probably yours. I'll need the harness back. And you're not to ride aboard this ship ever again. You're all banned. All four of you. You four, she turns toward you. If you need another ride, it's free, of course. If you can get my boat up and running by assuaging this curse, Bell, I'll be happy to transport you and the sarcophagus back on our return trip. Although, all of you do have a significant fine. Mr. Jeffrey, how much disposable capital was Mr. Van Ness traveling with? Roughly speaking, liquid capital of 50,000. I see. Well,
Gold or platinum?
gold pieces.
Okay.
That must have weighed a shit ton.
Yeah, no kidding.
Much of it's in platinum ingots and things like that, but
Still.
he
Do you
has
have
it
to
in.
carry all that?
They were carried on by workers, disguised as
Workers.
luggage. Let's see. For the problems with the ship, you'll get that back up and running. Consider the 50,000 gold pieces forfeit. Yes, ma'am. Good. We will confiscate those. 30,000 gold pieces will go to maintenance and upkeep of the ship. The remaining 20 will go to the investigators as a reward.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You get one free trip. If you get the ship up and running.
All right.
That sounds
wanna
like a
try
deal
first?
to me.
I'll turn to Umir. I mean, you try first.
Okay. Taking the dagger, he will say a brief prayer in his mother tongue. Will place the dagger, will pull it from its sheath, slash his hand with it, and say a few words as beads of blood drip down onto the mummified skeleton inside of the sarcophagus. He says a prayer, leans down, and on its forehead presses a very soft kiss. His lips come away coated with ash and dust. He slides the dagger back into the hands as best he can, and then nods to get a hand closing it again.
Malia will assist.
There's a sudden jolt.
Uh,
As the lid slams home, everything begins to shake and shudder. And you can hear yelling from outside on the ground. Well, back up! Back up! No! Hey, watch out for that! Hey, what? The steam's coming alive! And with that, the ship begins to come to life again.
yes.
Some time passes, and the lot of you recount your adventure to Farah, and to Aramsi, and to Safra, who's not paying attention in the slightest. You continue along, working your way from Selen to Capsudet, across the Jamoran Sea of Sand. The days passed uneventfully. Each of you will pocket 5,000 gold pieces for your investigation.
Yes.
Do we split it by that, or do we give Farah some as well?
She didn't do any work, but
That's
then again,
true.
she gave you a bunch
But she
of
is
stuff.
party, so 4,000 each.
4,000 each.
That's still pretty reasonable.
Nice.
It's a good chunk of money.
Yes,
Are we
nice.
keeping Farah's money listed somewhere? Because I knew we were keeping it on the
I've got it.
track in the party. Okay.
If you want to, you can.
No, I just wasn't sure what we were doing with that.
I think I
4,000
have the
each?
party sheet, so.
Yeah, you had the parties sheet with the breakdown of the monies. But
As
4,000.
As you continue to chug along,
Not really,
You-
but
you find yourself on the bow of the ship, looking out, as you see the city of Capsudet rising in the distance. Sun is cresting over the horizon, and you're expected to make it into the berth before noon. The bells announcing your presence start ringing overhead, and you can see something of an architectural marvel ahead of you. The city is tall, domed spires, towering tenements, a grand palace. But what you see, more than anything, is something that you didn't realize you were missing until you were out in the middle of that sea of sand dunes. The city is an architectural marvel. There is no river that runs through the center of Apesh. And yet, a river cuts a swath from the sea. The city is built on a mazed network of canals, man-made, dug from seawater. Even at this distance, you can see the outskirts where the occasional gondola will be paddled by a man with a stick. And even at this distance, you can see the slow trickle of merchants leaving, laden with goods, and a slow trickle of exhausted, threadbare refugees heading toward the city from the south. You've made it. And soon, the tomb of Okanen. And your destinies. And let's call game there for the night. Oh man, the political situation in this city is crap, by the way. I'm sorry.
It sounds like it.
From the little bits that we've been seeded so far, yeah, it sounds like a disaster.
Well, basically, you will find...
means Malia shouldn't talk.
You'll find out soon enough that everybody,
Yes.
the refugees are coming from the old capital to the new capital.
Ah.
And do you have in your notes how long ago this was made the new capital?
I don't think so.
I do not.
I do not believe... I don't think I told you.
Wasn't it like a great-grandfather or grandfather of the current sultan? So it's like it's only a couple generations?
I think that's when it was built. It's a newer city.
Yeah.
Like this has taken probably 100 years to build this canal system at least, using magic and all sorts of probably wish spells.
Yeah. I kind of recall somewhere where it was like it's not that old, of like thousands of years or hundreds, but like it's
This is a new development. This is like
still relatively in the hundreds, because weren't they half elves, so they had longer lifespans or something?
I don't think it hasn't been the capital that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
The capital was moved from Urashinabe quite recently, actually. You'll find out very recently soon. But yeah, basically this is like Cap Student is a lot like Dubai.
okay.
That's probably my best comparison. Dubai compared to like Damascus or something, or to Tehran.
Oh,
A
okay.
mix of Dubai and Venice.
Basically. Well, I mean, Dubai has the world's largest swimming pool.
On a
It's-
roof. I mean,
No, they have a giant swimming pool shaped like the Muslim moon and sun symbol,
oh.
or moon and star
Really?
symbol. Oh yeah, Google it. It's ridiculous. Like Dubai is just like basically just doing this.
hmm
Oh,
And then
yeah.
if you think of the political structure over there as well, for
It's
one of the most like richest cities, but
if you guys, this is a gambling capital as well. It's so if you decide to go gambling, you have $4,000 or gold pieces to play with. So
Yeah. So actually something that Tio would want to do before disembarking is probably talk to probably Umir Bell seems like the best person to speak to, because she wants to know if there are any like how she can help, if she can help, like what's the situation around slavery and if she can help prevent it. Like basically she just wants to donate to anti-slaving stuff.
fair enough.
Help
that's kind of cool.
combat what this
Combat.
fucker's been doing.
That's nice.
She's gonna put thinking like maybe 1,000 towards that.
We'll talk about that. I'm making a note that Tia wants to talk to Umar Bell about slavery. Anybody else want to tell me something they want to do?
Nothing pops to mind at the moment, so...
Yeah. And Tia will probably mention that this is something she wants to do if anyone else, if anyone cares.
Sounds fantastic. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been it's been great having you with us tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed tonight's game. It was a different version of Dungeons and Dragons. Did you guys enjoy detectives and dice rolls?
Yeah, it was really good.
Though I really can't wait to get my daggers back.
Oh, you'll have them back. You'll have them back. I tried to make that as Agatha Christie as possible.
Mm-hmm. No, it was good.
Thank you. It's hard to do this in a role-playing game with multiple people.
Mm-hmm. And with like having the stats that we do, I can see how you have to kind of like level it as well, so that you can't just give us enough or not enough based on what we roll.
You actually went in the correct order, like out of character real quick. You went to a guy who didn't care and was like, I'm a thief. The worst thing that'll happen is you'll take my other 2 fingers, probably. I didn't kill him, and I'm willing to throw anybody under the bus to protect myself who might have killed him. Then you went to the guy who's like, no, I'm an honorable man. I'm just trying to like return my great-great-great-grandfather or something to a tomb. Like, I'm not going to kill someone over this. I will just ruin him politically. Then you went to a guy who is basically immune to intimidation because of what the Scorpion had on him. And then you went to someone who was a trained actress who only failed because she got prideful. Because she didn't trust anybody enough to like, if she had a sidekick, she never would have been caught. But she didn't trust anybody.
Yeah. So I just really like the idea of using the Scorpion's money to help free slaves that he may have enslaved. Just turn that back on him. Yeah.
I just like the Scorpion's money.
I like the Scorpion's
I really like
money.
the idea of having the Scorpion's money.
That's fair.
Get over here.
I'm the richest I've ever been.
Right? And after like spending like a lot on my poisons, I'm like, yes, money, please, thank you.
I have a bunch of crap that I can sell too.
You can definitely buy and sell stuff in this city.
Having tried to buy stuff in the last city and had nowhere near the right amount of money, I want to save.
So basically what we're doing is that common magic items and uncommon magic items can be purchased.
Cool.
Anything above that is you'll have to find it or specially commission it or something like that, because that's when you start getting into the really powerful stuff.
Okay.
Well, and also I still have a level of repair to do on my hammer, right? So
getting those materials will be really good.
Yeah. So saving up towards being able to buy some potentially if I can't find some.
And then the last thing I'm gonna tell you guys before I call game tonight is that, just a warning, the Tomb of Okanan is going to be very difficult.
Okay.
So like legit like Egyptian tomb sort of level crap.
It's going to be a dungeon crawl in the way that the Temple of Ishar was the Temple of Ishar was a beginner dungeon. This is going to be a middle level dungeon.
Okay.
Like I'm doing research from existing dungeons to make sure that I pull in the right stuff. I'm not going Tomb of Annihilation with this, but I am going like there are some traps that could be lethal at your level.
Okay.
Just to throw it out there, maybe we should have like a movie night where we just watch The Mummy. I don't know why, but this makes me think of The Mummy.
The old one?
Yeah, the good one.
Okay.
The Brendan Fraser one?
Yeah.
I already saw the other one in the theater. That was enough.
Yeah, we all went and saw it together.
I did not see it. I did not want to.
No, it was the worst waste of money when I was poor that possibly could have happened.
Yeah. But no, we should watch The Mummy.
We should.
I don't think I even knew there was a new Mummy.
It's probably
Tom Cruise.
It's a Tom Cruise one.
Huh.
No, just don't.
Tom Cruise isn't the mummy, but then he is. Surprise. All right, so that's going to be it for Dork Tales tonight. Thank you for tuning into Generic Fantasy. Thank you for tuning into Generic Fantasy Setting. I and the rest of us will see you next Wednesday. Goodbye, everybody.
Night.
Bye.